What is going on, legends? We have an incredible podcast for you today with Mr. Talk Media, Scott Durnell. Whether you are watching this on YouTube, listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it is a great one, and we have some freaking awesome stories. We're just going to get straight into this one and let it rip. Enjoy, boys. Okay. So now all the audio.
Yeah, you do that and then pick up the pick
Yeah.
up a bottle.
Do you know how many times last week he's like, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" Yeah. We're like, "We're fucking ready, man. Stop asking us if we're ready."
Me saying, "Are you ready?" was me being like, "All right, you guys need to. Is everyone going to shut up now? Because we're about to start." Yeah.
Oh, it's all growing pains. That's what you get in a new
100%.
podcast.
Yeah, as we're going. Yeah.
Oh, and then you can leave all of this in the introduction. That's the whole start of it.
I'm leaving this in.
Absolutely,
This is the
it's perfect.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Picnic Table. I'm here with my co-host Timothy Laidler and our guest today, Mr. Talk Media, Scott Durnell.
That's
hey,
me.
How you going, Scott?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good.
It's bloody hot.
Being super freaking hot.
It's so
How are you,
hot.
Got a
Mr.
sheen. Just got a little layer of sheen on us.
Already shiny. So if anyone doesn't know this man to my right just here, I don't know how you don't, especially if you're in the car industry, burnouts, you still step into a bit of drag racing and things like that.
A little bit, yeah.
Probably in my eyes, one of the best, if not the best, automotive photographers in the scene at the moment.
Thanks.
Talking you out, yeah. So I mean, like, there's a shit ton that we can talk about today. Aside from the fact that it's so hot that it's almost like ruining our train.
It's like 32. It's not even that bad.
It's pretty hot,
Bro,
bro.
when we first cracked the door to this shed, it was painful. It hurt.
I reckon it would have been 50 in the shed.
No way.
Yeah, it was
Is
hot.
it? So do you prefer Mr. Talk Media or Mr. Wagon?
Oh, Mr. Wagon. Mr.
Wagon.
Wagon. That's how everyone knows me before my photography. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah, before I knew who Scott was, I knew what Mr. Wagon was.
Yeah, right.
And like that was half the thing, like along with like struggling and the fact that I just love VEs and wagons altogether. Yeah, Scott's Wagon was like one of the first things that I ever
One of the
freaking
inspo,
frothed
mate.
over. Yeah.
Before, did he have the wagon before you?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So I've had that for 8 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, 8 years now.
Yep.
Been through a few renditions, and then before that, I had a VX wagon. That was a Bellina wagon. That was airbagged on E3 GDS wheels.
Actually, I think I just saw that recently. I think it might have popped up somewhere.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a clean car, but there's a few little things, and it was one of those like, I can go and spend 20 grand to get it to almost a base model VE, or I can just sell it and buy a VE.
Yeah.
So that's why I did that. And then before that, my very first car was a VH wagon. Ooh. I bought that for $600. It was a Starfire 4-cylinder auto.
Now worth 30K.
Oh, easily. It was ridiculous. $600, and it ran out of rego. It had rust in one of the water channels, so they wouldn't pass it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's before I knew dodgy people.
Yeah.
So like, whatever, I'll put it on eBay. Sold it for $1,200 and registered and thought I made a killing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And now that'd be 12, 15 grand.
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that photo in Melbourne, where there's the 3 wagons.
Yeah.
You just put it on your story of what you were doing lately. That was like. That was my photo that sold me on a VE wagon. That was long before where I met you.
Yeah, so that was the second rendition. So it's originally atomic green, then airbagged.
I like that original colour.
Me too. It's really nice, but the clear was failing because it had a front end respray.
Right,
So the clear was failing. So I'm like, I can't afford to respray it, but I can afford to wrap it.
Yeah.
I'll try it, see what it's like.
Had you done any wrapping before that?
Zero. I'd wrap the roof with a mate. We used credit cards. Yeah, it was matte black. We used credit cards. It was
Very scratchy.
horrible. And then I
Mr.
watched a
DJ.
video. I've said this to many people who have asked me. I watched a video online on how to wrap a bonnet, and then I just started.
Yeah, mad.
I went and bought a roll and I just started. And that's the way to do it.
That's exactly how I started. But then with the first time I actually wrapped the wagon, the first time I wrapped a full car, I hit up Scott and I was like, dude, you got to come down and help. And it was absolutely shocking because like KPMF, it was like 10 times thicker than what we were expecting it or any.
Is that a good thing? In vinyl wrap?
There's payoffs and reasons why
Yeah.
a thicker vinyl is better than a thinner vinyl. Like it finishes, ease of use, all of those types of things. And it was super windy. It was like negative degrees
So
because it was
cold.
like winter in Canberra.
And we're doing the front driver's quarter, and we had it almost perfect. There was one little thing in it, and I just lifted a little bit, and it just ripped.
Yeah, so
And
just start again.
Had to start a whole new quarter again.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Is that just because it's so cold?
Because it was so cold?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you meant to wrap
Turns to
between
a solid.
Basically, you're meant to wrap between like 22 and 28 degrees.
All right. So a bit warm here today?
Way too warm here. Well, I wrapped that brown. When I wrapped it brown,
Yeah.
that was in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
And I was coming out at like 6:30 in the morning. I'd wrap one panel, and by the
Yeah.
time I was done, I couldn't do any more.
Yeah, right.
So it took like a whole week just to wrap the whole car because it was just too hot.
Because
Yeah,
you know when you heat it, it becomes real floppy and stretchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd literally, like without heating it, it'd just become floppy and stretchy and you couldn't
Yeah.
work with it because it's too hot.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you...
No control over it, basically.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like pretty cool that we went straight to a tangent on vinyl wrapping out of all things.
As if it wasn't going to end up there at some point with you two.
I didn't even think.
No, of course it was
would.
going out there, but like, so I've wrapped that 3 times now. I had the grey, and that's when I took it to MotorX in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So I just fully airbagged
Was that
it.
Nardo?
It was Avery
Nardo
gloss
Nardo
dark grey, but
Yeah.
yes, it's
Yeah.
basically Nardo.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really seen many cars wrapped in that colour before that.
Yeah.
There was obviously the Audis and stuff that had it from factory.
Was wrap a fairly new thing when we're going back here? Like, is this...
Colour change wraps, yeah. There was
Yeah.
obviously the sign writing stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of colour change wraps, you know, they were 10 years old at that point.
Yeah.
Technology was getting better. You know, realistically, you probably shouldn't be wrapping one in a front driveway, but
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked out. And I took it to MotorX, and there was bits I missed, like on the top of the side skirts. You could see it through the door, and it was still green.
That's the worst thing about having such a bright color is you have no margin for error, no room for mistakes.
Yeah.
Because if there's anywhere you've missed, you
Yeah,
see it from
yeah,
a mile
yeah.
away. That's why I like that. Like the old wagon was a dark color because it was so much easier to hide your mistakes.
Absolutely. Every shop reckons that if you've got a black car, it's cheaper and quicker to wrap a black car than is anything else because you don't need to go as far. You don't need to be
Yeah.
meticulous about
Yeah.
tucking things in and everywhere.
Yeah.
Because a lot of shadowed areas hide where you finish anyway, so
absolutely.
it just works
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I took it down to MotorX for that, and that was pretty cool. And then that's when I took that photo. So I met up with a couple of boys that had bagged wagons then, and there was only, I think at the time there was maybe only 10 or 15 bagged wagons in Australia.
Yeah,
bagged
right.
V wagons in Australia. So there wasn't that many, and 3 of us to get together. It was a pretty cool photo. I really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
So
And it was a freaking great photo too.
it was, yeah. It was sunset in Melbourne.
Mate, you're a bit of a traveller with the scene. We were talking last week actually on the
Yeah,
podcast
you've
about
gone freaking everywhere.
you were going to the old, what was it?
Brushnats.
Oh, it was a brush-
and he was going south to PCM as well.
PCM.
Oh, don't
Yeah.
start me on PCM.
We actually brought it up about the fuse cover. I've even heard the fuse cover story.
Those techs, like you go in, Powercruise, you go in, they look over your car, make sure your battery's not loose, check under the bonnet, we're all good, no worries.
No
So-
holes in the
Dude,
firewall.
for mine, they literally just jumped up on the truck, looked at it, and they were just like,
all good.
cool. Yeah.
These guys, they wanted nothing in the car, even though I said, well, what happens if I put stuff back in the car? And like, oh, how are we meant to know? So what's the point in
Yeah,
checking?
yeah,
yeah.
He
Yeah.
opens the bonnet, grabs a fuse cover that was factory and ripped it straight off and cracked it. I'm like, are you going to replace that? No, go away.
He was trying to act like that was the battery, was he?
He was trying to act like that was the battery cover and it was broken. And I'm like, it's not. It's the fuse cover. Oh, you're going to have to put a cable tie around that now. I'm like, yeah, because you broke it.
Yeah, fucking flog.
That was the second last event of PCM. The last event, they like culled it right down and they put heaps of restrictions on it. And then that was the end of it.
Paint
got
us a
too
picture.
loose.
Paint us a picture because I didn't even know about this event.
So
I didn't know about it until afterwards.
It was known as the loosest Commodore event in the world. It wasn't even Commodores, but it was just mainly LS Commodores in Victoria. They wanted to go and have fun. And there was just LS's on limiter all day long.
Yeah, right.
And it was cool. It was fun.
On brake on limiter?
On
or?
brake on limiter everywhere.
Yeah.
just getting tires off.
And there's so many photos of cars catching fire
Yeah.
because they'd pop tyres, then scrape on their fuel tank, their plastic fuel tanks, and then just light them on fire.
Yeah, right.
Really?
And it's there was many fires from PCM. It was crazy.
Who ran the event?
It was Winton, just the racetrack.
Oh,
ran
right,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
So it was only one.
It
It
was
was only
only
in
in
one
Winton.
area.
Yeah, it was only at Winton.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, right.
Because
I thought it travelled.
Yeah,
around.
no, because Victoria's never had a Powercruise.
Well, that's why. This is
Yeah,
how we
yeah.
started on this last week, and it
Yeah.
was that the Bend was going to have Powercruise, and he couldn't get numbers.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I know that eventually it got canned because of COVID.
Yeah.
but Gup was like not having numbers, so we entered
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that we
yeah.
could
I
get
was ready
numbers
to
down
go.
there.
Yeah,
It's like
and Jake had entered the Mustang,
Yeah.
so he was ready to go.
and we were saying how Summernats is going back in December.
Yeah.
And it's like, show up for this thing.
Yeah, yeah,
like, what happened to Melbourne? They were kings. Like,
Yeah.
back, I know for VLs,
Oh.
Rajab and all the
Oh.
boys, like, now we've got Matooks and all that, but the scene was down there.
It was. It
And
was.
Sex
It was-
Spec,
Oh.
in the Sex Spec days, Melbourne
massive down
trumped
there,
us.
yeah.
Well, we did Cruise for Charity, like Street Commodores Cruise for Charity, quite a few years.
Yeah.
We did Queensland and Victoria and Sydney all in one year.
Yeah.
And we went down there, and it was always a battle between New South Wales or Sydney and Victoria and
Yeah.
Melbourne as to how many cars. And there was 2,000 Commodores,
Wow.
2,500 Commodores. It was crazy. And they were always the kings of Commodores.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
always
yeah.
was the
That's
way.
what I thought. And then
Right.
now you don't see anything
No.
out of Melbourne. They
No.
don't even have an event.
No.
yeah, and
No.
that sucks for them
Because-
because there's so many, especially in the burnouts.
Turn
there's
up
so
for
many big
Summernats. If
cars
you're
down
listening to
there.
this and you're in Melbourne, turn up for Summernats.
We're thinking of going regardless, just to cover the event.
Yeah. It's just like Victoria's always had such a cool Commodore scene.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see that it's gone the way it has. And it has in Sydney as well. But I'd love to see that kind of stuff return. Not just Commodores either, but everything.
I think the streetcar and car scene in Sydney is alive and well. I think it's probably stronger than it has been for years.
Oh, man, especially me coming from Canberra, it is mental. It is insane seeing it, and I haven't even really seen anything yet.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing yet.
COVID's obviously put a big dampener on that. I think we miss the old Harry's nights. Did you ever go to Harry's in a month meet?
Always, yeah.
Did you take me to one?
No, there was nothing. That wasn't a month meet though. There's end of month coming up.
Huge.
Dude, seriously,
It's still huge.
every month the cops would show up and shut down the Cumberland Highway. Like
Yeah,
the
it was
major arterial road
crazy.
through Liverpool would shut it down because there was lineups of traffic.
That is
there
so
was,
cool.
I reckon there would have been 10,000 people there on some of those big nights.
Nuts.
And the biggest,
then they'd go street racing after.
Yeah. Because then you'd leave there, you go street
Fairfield,
racing down through
Smithfield, or whatever, yeah.
like you go down like the back of Liverpool, down Cow Pasture Road,
Ingleburn, yeah.
Ingleburn, everyone would go street racing afterwards.
Any industrial area was just full of cars.
And we used to go there, and we'd get there at like 4:30 in the afternoon. We'd meet up, we'd have some food, we'd then disappear, go on a cruise. We'd come back at midnight, and there's still cars there.
Yeah. Still
That is
people
so
showing
cool.
up. Like
Yeah.
it's, people are just coming out at midnight. We'd go home 4 a.m. after street
Really?
racing all night.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
That is
nuts.
so cool. See, my entire life, I've never I thought the car scene in Australia was like what it is in Canberra. A lot of really cool cars there, but so many of them are hidden, not driven.
Yeah.
And it's like you see little snapshots of events, or not even events, cruises, just small little things that are held here, and you're like, whoa, they got a really big turnout, and you're like, man, that's average. That's not a mind.
That's a group of 10 mates
Yeah.
cruising. That's not a
mind blowing.
Just after the last lockdown last year, a couple of mates messaged me like, "Oh, what are you doing tonight? Let's go for a cruise." Yeah, sweet, no worries. So we jumped in the car and went for a cruise, and like one message turned into like 40 people.
Yeah.
It was crazy, and it was such a cool night. And we just went for the small cruise. It was like an hour long. We all had fun. We all met up at somewhere, and then we had some food and went home.
Yeah.
But that's what we need to get back to doing. I think I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
I think there's the only thing that I see dampening it a little bit is the value of the cars now and how hard.
As in because they're too
valuable. Like, you
expensive?
know, the people that had a 12 grand VE now have a 40 grand VE. And they can't afford to replace front bars and rear bars and whatever might happen.
But why,
There's limited parts now. You know,
why
We've got
for
COVID tax.
Why did you use front bars as
Because you're going to run at the back of someone on a cruise?
just
that's
just anything. I'm just saying parts in general
Okay,
have become. You've got COVID tax on everything now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do feel that there's a little bit of like my car's valuable now.
Oh yeah.
Like, and people are keeping them a little more hidden.
Yeah.
The biggest ones is like VF HSVs.
Yeah.
VF
for sure.
GDSs,
Yeah.
GDSRs, like even before, like when GDSRs first came out, you'd see them everywhere.
Yeah, you did, eh?
everywhere.
You see them daily.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
it might be a week before I see one around Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the moment I'm seeing Bentleys more than I'm seeing anything else. I'm seeing at least 2 a day, like on the way to work.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
mind blowing. Yeah,
Yeah, the Lux car scene. Like, I don't know how everyone's got so much money. And even just in
I know,
our scene.
like next level.
Like we were
big
talking
money.
last week about welds and everything being like $8,000, but it's not just welds. I mean, you're talking everything is
Everything's getting
massively
crazy.
inflated.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean, those wheels were the most expensive wheels I've ever purchased, and they were $4,000.
Yep.
And I was just dreading the thought of possibly doing something wrong with them, or
Yep.
did I order the wrong spec, or did I order the wrong color, or whatever
Oh,
it might
bro,
be.
yeah.
Like $4,000, and you can't do anything with them if you
And
order them
it's
wrong.
It's not like Koya where you're just getting the offset machined and then they show up.
Yeah.
Like with this, it's like a 4-month process.
Yeah,
and like,
that's the
it's
heartbreaking thing if
such
you do get it wrong.
Such an investment.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it's just natural to have a fear of screwing it up because, man, I was the exact same. And
Yeah.
I know with my first...
Hey, you two take pride in being
we-
kings of
and-
Fitment,
and
so
my first
you
real wheel-
should beat yourselves up more than anyone if you fucked it up.
Yeah.
If they turned up and they were the wrong spec, I would have been so upset.
Sitting an inch out further than the guard.
Yeah. But with my first 3-piece wheels, I remember that I'm pretty sure the video, it surely is still on the channel. It's one of our first vlogs when like me and Pico were unboxing them.
Yep.
And dude, if you actually watch it, because that was our
Yeah,
first
you're
reaction,
disappointed.
if you look at our faces, especially like God bless Pico because he tries to be a trooper. You literally just see us. We open him, we're just like, hey, woo, yeah, cool. And dude, I hated them. Like, and that
I
was,
liked
that was
them. I
such
just-
they just didn't suit the car.
I think that was it. I think that was the issue.
And
Well,
they-
these weren't the SFs.
No, the heritage.
No. Yeah, the
Ah.
heritage wheels. My first 3-piece wheels.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're just a very basic, like, it's so basic and weird. I was hoping the fact that they were custom 3-piece, it was going to, I don't know, in real, you know, when you look at a picture of something like, but then in real life,
Yeah,
it blows
100%.
you away.
Normally I have more.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
really hoping for that. When I opened them, I was like, didn't really get better.
But see, then I think there's another aspect to it is putting a tyre on it and then chucking it on the car. Because it can get better then too.
that-
It can
was
also get
exactly
worse.
it.
It can also get worse.
100% it
because
can,
as soon
yeah.
as you put a tire on it, it does the reverse, and it looks like it's shrinking the diameter of the wheel, and it makes the proportions of it look so wrong, and then it looks wrong on the car. And with a 22, you don't run into that as much, but with a 20,
Yeah.
if it's not dialed,
Yeah,
it can make
it
look
looks.
so
It almost
wrong.
looks like an 18 especially on
Yeah,
a big body car like a
100%.
VEV.
Well, I have that issue with the Calais, had 19-inch Simmons on it, and like 3-piece. Should they had the recipe to be great, but I just think it was 1 inch too small.
Yeah.
And story of my life. And I think they look horrible.
Yeah.
I think they look horrible. And
Yeah.
like I've never
I
bought that car out
I
with
think
those wheels.
there's a point like filth, for instance. It's got big, wide, but they're
As in Tough Street. Phil Curtin?
no filth.
Oh, filth.
Filth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like they're wide and they're small and they do suit. But then you see 22s and big dish and then they suit as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the
That's
look
what
of the
look you're
car
going
and the
for.
height as well. The height makes such a big difference.
Oh,
you see
yeah.
so many cars that have 22s and they're just four
Monster
drives
trucks,
and they look
yeah.
terrible.
But that's half the reason my car needs to be fucking slammed.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be on 20s.
So does that. I hate how high the front end is at the moment.
Why did you get rid of the bags? Why did you get rid of the bags? Yeah, you got nothing.
Yeah,
I
there's
do.
way too much
You
thinking
regret
there.
it. You regret
No,
it.
I don't
Way too
regret
much.
it. Honestly, I would drive the car, once a month, twice a month, and I would air up, I'd drive, and then I'd come home and I'd air out. I never use the front bags.
Except when you go to a fucking event. and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fucking
When you
baller.
really want it low.
But it wasn't it's not engineered. So
cares?
I'm so paranoid about getting
If
defected.
there's any cops watching this, it is engineered.
Absolutely, yeah.
Completely engineered.
No, that's what I was
Paperwork and
saying.
everything.
That's what I was saying as well about before, when cars are now valuable, but everyone's fearful of getting a canary sticker as well.
Yeah, but like, if I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure every one of your cars qualifies for a nice yellow sticker. And like,
Wait, why are you going to target me? I feel attacked.
you still love building a street car.
You know the police are watching this. You know they are.
This is the reason I didn't want to build a street car, because the way I want my car doesn't suit the street. The cops don't like it. So, like, why not just take it off the street and then go fucking
Hey,
mental
see
with it?
these wrinkles and see how my car's a 70s models car? They just think I'm an old bloke driving an old car. Just old bloke driving a car
Yeah,
from his
until
era.
until you got that fucking sticking out of the bonnet on a street car.
Yeah, well, that's for the streeter, but, we'll see how we go.
I love tough street cars, I really do, but there is a time and place, and we've had this discussion before. I was very worried about you turning a perfectly good street car into a burnout car.
Now that I
Now-
look back, I'm like, man, what a fucking weird idea.
It
Like,
was-
to take a mint street car and to do that, like, that is quite strange.
And at the
Now
time,
that-
you probably could have got a roller for like $3,000.
If that,
maybe,
I reckon
but
probably less.
Yeah, maybe back then.
Yeah.
But that is 100% what I wanted to do, and I was committed to it, and that's the reason I bought it in the first place, to do that. Sure, it was a little bit unnecessary, and you could almost count it as a waste because it was perfect car. But that's what made it so much better about, I guess, binning it and then like the starting from absolute fresh.
I think it would
warranted.
I think it would have been cool, obviously money pending, but to have a cool street car and then a matching burnout car.
I
I'll do
have
the
always
other
said
way.
this to him. Like, I think because they didn't have the scene down in Canberra of street
Yeah.
cars, he doesn't value street car life, right? I fucking love street car life. And the older I get, the more I realise a nice underbonnet supercharger, making 800 horsepower at the wheels,
Yep.
and you can drive your kids to school in it.
Ooh, speaking of that, you know what fucking has me like kind of like, oh, I need a street car with power?
What?
Hawkins GDR. Going in it yesterday, like literally like, you'll see the video. I'm pretty sure I've sent it to both of you, my reaction in it.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I told him. I was like,
Put it,
well,
put it on YouTube as a short.
Oh, well, it's his video
Oh,
more,
right,
so I
okay,
would be
yeah,
stealing
right.
content.
Ah,
But
right.
I'll link it or whatever anyways.
yep.
And like, you will see it. And yeah, like, that was 100% genuine first reaction. And it is like warp speed. Like,
Yeah.
And it just keeps pulling. And you're saying because it was heat soaking, it looked like it
Mate,
was
no
starting to-
Commodore's going to pull like that. No, I hate to tell you.
No, never.
No,
But
never.
The fact that he takes his daughter to school and
Yeah, that's
he
right.
drives it to
Yeah.
work. It drives nice. It has manners. It's sequential, 3.2 stroke. It is awesome. It is
It is,
freaking
it's
awesome.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
and
it's
it is
a
an absolute
crazy car.
monster.
Yeah.
But he is going to go to a bigger G45 turbo. So when he's got that, he is a little worried that it's going to become a bit of a pig to just
It's going to be a
drive
pig,
around.
but you just
It's
putt
gonna be a
around.
monster,
Yeah, you just
though.
it becomes either it's on or off. Whereas at the moment, you can still sort of, you've got that in between.
Yeah. Well, that's what he says. That's why he loves the Supra so much, because it is torquey down low.
Yep.
If you want to get tail happy at like leaving a roundabout or something, like it's easy as hell. Whereas like the GTR, you already can't.
I think
do
the
that.
Supra though has that fact of like it's just a bought car. We all have that,
dude. And he says every single time he drives it, he falls in love with it more.
Yeah, I saw he
Like,
posted. He posted something about it the other day.
Mind blowing.
Because he took it for a super sprint, didn't he?
Yeah.
But that's why I like the positive displacement under bonnet superchargers. You know, like Scott, you want to put a 1900 on this from an LSA, and you know that's a small.
You still want to do that? Yeah.
That's a small blower in this day and age.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you're talking 2650s and that. Whipple 4 litres people are chucking on there.
Yeah.
You know, making 1200 horsepower under bonnet, and you can literally drive them to get milk and bread if you want.
And then like the perfect comparison is you look at like PSI Junkie when they were playing with YTFB, and it made like YTFB on paper makes half the power, and it was just blowing it out of the water, clouds, and like you couldn't get the Falcon on boost. Like it was lazy, it was a pig. Sure, it's cool.
But that was a numbers car, let's be honest. That was there to make a number.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, the fucking boys is a car that was designed to just make clouds.
But I think that's what Holden kind of like hoped for from the factory. Like being like so many cars these days, if you turn off traction control, it's still like kind of like watches over you a bit, and like Holden made it so that you can 100% hoon in that in like Commodores. Like
that, like, you know, and a genuine GDS or a W1 or whatever it is up at that top end of the spectrum, they're animals.
Oh, 100%.
They're animals.
Yeah.
You know, like 10 years ago, to make that sort of power, you're probably spending 25 grand on your car.
Well, look at horsepower heroes at Summernats. You're talking, 10 or even 15 years ago, and you're going, they're making 1,200 horsepower. And you're like, man, that's crazy. And now you literally drive into a shop and drive out a week later, and your stock car with stock manners is making 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah. I remember when, even before I could drive, and people, being blown away when someone could hit 300 kilowatts. And that was big money even to do that with a lot of cars, which is crazy.
You know, back to, we were talking about Orange Grove Road Maccas and the heyday. Like, I was in that scene a little bit. Well, you boys would have been like real young high school or even primary school, and S15s were new, and you turn the boost up on an S15, get it running a high 11 or a low 12-second pass.
Jeez, that was impressive.
That was king on the street, you know. That was king on the street.
Impressive.
Ah, come on,
dude. I don't know.
You go to Orange Grove Road Maccas now, and you'll get 8-second cars there.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Point, yeah.
So you're talking four. You see the difference between a 4 seconds on a track. You're like,
But even like you would have, especially through summer, especially the one after Summernats or the one after Powercruise, you would have guys rocking up with big blowers out the bonnet. You would have big burnout cars that are still street registered just rocking up.
Look at Benassis. Benassis is bloody driving that red thing around like it's a bloody Camry.
And even Eunice as well. He drove his on the street.
Eunice, but we're hearing that there might be a bit of strife there, right?
Yeah, did you hear anything on that? Yeah. Apparently from an undisclosed source, we heard that, apparently he's been getting hassled over that.
Someone's reported him.
Like, why do people have to suck?
I hate it. Yeah, I hate it. Like, if he wasn't hurting anyone, he wasn't doing anything dangerous, he was cruising it.
He literally drove it just like every other car that was on the street with him. Like,
he
maybe a little bit louder.
He didn't fry tyres. He didn't do anything silly. Had a full exhaust on it.
My ears hurt.
Yeah. Like, sure, it's a big blower on, exotic fuels, but, we just can't get away with that these days. It's not like it was in the 90s and the early 2000s. How many guys used to drive down to Bankstown and drive straight in the airport and fill up with avgas?
Yeah. Me and Dad did it Dad had an R32 GDST. And he used to do a 50-50 mix of avgas and we go out cruising.
So many of the Rotary boys, they just drive straight in the back gate of Bankstown Airport, fill up with avgas and go to runs.
And then you had to get a racing license. So Dad, I had a dirt bike, so Dad would then say that I was a dirt bike racer and get me a racing license. And then go and get avgas then. And then it just got harder and harder and harder.
That is so funny. That's awesome that you could even do that. I feel like, even though I love where the car scene's at, because you remember, I remember hearing when I was getting into cars, it was like, 700 is the new 400 horsepower. It is now 1,000. 1,000 horsepower is the new...
No, it's gone backwards.
1,000 kilowatt.
Yeah, well,
yes, 100%.
But I think it's going backwards, because I think most people are going 1,000 horsepower, 1,200 horsepower, whatever it might be, and they're going, it's too much.
Yeah.
So there's so many combos that are now coming out and they're going easy 700, easy 650, easy 700.
And then you have Chevy that bring out a brand new big block that makes 1,000 out of the crate.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I can definitely understand. Like, I see where you're coming from, but like, I mean, at least in a big, heavy Commodore, I reckon 1,000's still the place where you want to go. But 1,000 in an RX-7 or something smaller, like that's stacks. How are you going to get that to the ground on a street tire?
Yeah.
Well, one of the cars that created my passion, who now Pat owns, I don't know the plate of it anymore, but it does 10s back in the day. It made 420. It was built by CMV and Jacko 3-speed, big dollars. Like I'm talking 35 grand on the motor. They flew to America to get the turbo for it. Like big dollar car, made 420.
Yep.
That's insane.
420 horsepower, not even kilowatts.
Yeah.
420 horsepower, and we fucked up the start, ran an 11.2 out of second gear at the creek. Like, still a fast car, but like in comparison to today.
Yeah, my biggest one was Try Hard, because that was the blue VX Club Sport.
Yeah.
And it was a twin turbo, like 427, whatever. It's made like 2,200 horsepower at Horsepower Heroes.
Yeah.
And it was a monster. And he just won it like 4 years in a row. Easy, just comes out, does it all good. Turned it into a salt track racer.
Did he?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I wonder why I hadn't seen him.
Yeah, turned into a salt track racer. I don't know if he's been out lately, but like it was such a cool car, and it looked stock as a rock.
So the car from my era that I remember, and I never got to see it down at Nats, but just like, I'd go and buy a Street Machine every month, was Eddie Tassone's VH. Eddie Tassone, I think they came from WA, and he'd rock up, and every year that thing would just knock out a number and he'd take it.
Yeah.
This is way before my time. I don't even know.
How old were you when you were on the pad, though? You might have been on the pad.
No, this would have been a couple of years before that, because this was when I was in high school. So I graduated 2007, so that would have been like 2005 maybe.
So I think Eddie Tassone's was like
Just for reference, in 2005 I was 9 years old.
Yeah, righto. Yeah, righto. Might have made me feel old.
Yeah. Even me.
No, I was just making reference for your story to be able to.
Oh, well, you're always like, I was there since Summernats 15.
No, I was 17. Yeah, but dude, I would have remembered being 9 years old walking around there.
And you've been nowhere but the pad.
No.
You're like, who's Eddie Tassone?
You've always said,
who's
you keep
Eddie
going,
Tassone?
I missed out on so much. And even the photos from me posting from Tough Street. And you're like, I never saw any of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I was like literally such a burnout addict that like, dude, I literally felt like the itch hadn't been scratched if I'd missed a burnout. And that was whether I wanted to see a car hit the wall, if I wanted to see a car catch on fire. Because before you own a car, those are cool. And before you know the guys that own those cars and pay for them.
And as a kid, I could appreciate that is the draw card.
Oh,
but
dude,
for me, I just get bored there these days.
Me too.
Yeah. But even as like a person that still wants to like compete there and everything, like I don't want to hit a wall, but like fire, as long as it's not from the engine bay.
I'm so sick of you saying this.
Yeah, wait until it happens, and then I'll be like, never again.
I think for me with Summernats is that I use Summernats and Powercruise as my events.
Yeah.
I will shoot the pad and I will stand pad side for an entire day at any other event. Powercruise, I want to drive my car and have fun. Summernats is my weekend to catch up with people I only see once a year at Summernats. And then run amok on Tough Street.
Yeah, because like I've never seen you at Summernats.
No.
Yeah.
No. But now Tough Street's turned into what it has.
Yeah.
For better or worse, whatever position you have on that, I miss those old days of being able to run amok on there. But I never sit at the burnout pad. I never sit at the burnout pad.
I go there as a bit of a break, so I'll do a lap.
Yeah.
So I'll sit at Tough Street for 3 or 4 hours. We'll walk up so we can get a seat at the grandstand, watch some burnouts, do a lap, head back around, walk through the showground, over to Top 60 Hall, do another lap at Top 60 Hall.
Yeah.
Even though I've already seen it,
for me,
then back to Tough Street.
For me now, and because I know how many cars go through there, for me now it's mainly just Masters. Like I don't have to sit there and watch
I
them
agree
all.
with that. Like I just said, like I find burnouts boring. Those top 10, 15 guys, that's not boring. Those guys are next
Masters
level.
I'll line up with. I'll get there early. I'll try and get the best shot, like seat in the house. Like Masters, that. Masters is why I go to Summernats.
Yeah.
And the best bit about that now is we're mates with almost all of them, and they're all fucking legends. So awesome.
I enjoy the wild card on Thursday Arvo.
That's exciting.
That's always, I think, some of the best skids. It's a perfect opener.
Yeah.
I'll go there for that, and then I'll go there if I have a mate skidding. But other than that, unless I'm shooting the pad, I don't really go near the burnout pad at Summernats.
Have you overdone it, do you think? Like, have you seen too many skids that now it's just a bit...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless I'm shooting them, and even shooting them, like there are times where I'm like, I've been here for 5 hours, I just need a break, and I'll go and get a drink or some food or whatever it might be, and just sit in the shade for 20 minutes, and then I'm good to go again. But Summernats is so hot.
Oh, yeah.
It's so just in the sun. Like if there was... trees and everything lining that pad like there is at Queensland, on the burnout pad at Queensland, I'd stay there all day.
Yeah.
But it's just too hot and too sunny.
I
I'm a
think it's got to
ginger,
get
so
to
I'm
a point where
gonna
they
burn.
have to provide more shade around the pad for people.
No, but they have. Did
They
you not
did
see
last
the
year.
I did,
massive-
yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was fucking
Yeah.
amazing. Because
Yeah.
even where I was just about to say, like, oh, no, I'd stand there all day. I remember Indy and I, when she'd be a trooper and stand with me on the fence so that I could film, after every car that I'd want to film, we'd just take 10 steps back, stand under that shade. Like, it was absolutely perfect addition.
Yeah.
Was this smoky?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Man,
was...
you know what? Even in the shade, I couldn't. I felt like I was
Yeah, no,
struggling to
but-
breathe.
Well, we
But-
bailed Saturday night.
Did
Well,
you?
yeah.
We left Saturday
Yeah,
night
right.
at like
But,
11
like,
o'clock.
Yeah, right.
Remember, like, Saturday was so fucking hot.
Yeah.
Think about this is the easiest way to the easiest analogy I thought of was if you look at with burnouts, as soon as there's fire, what happens to the smoke? It leaves. It's gone. There's no
Yeah.
smoke. You just see the fire. I believe it was literally just that fucking hot that the smoke had just risen so high, it just dissipated, and the sun could just fucking beam down on us. That's why it was 43 degrees. Because I remember there wasn't really smoke on Saturday.
During the
And then-
day, no.
And then Sunday.
But Saturday night.
Saturday
didn't it move
night it
in?
rolled
Yeah.
in.
That's
It rolled
when-
in at like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
oh, dude, it did for 3 months. It
Yeah.
rolled in at 7 p.m. every night.
Yeah.
Our bloody in the hotel we were in, smoke alarms and shit started going off like
Yeah.
throughout
Yeah.
the night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I worked at the university doing security, it was literally just like the entire because air conditioning systems aren't designed to work around smoke like that. They would pump the smoke into the
Yeah.
building, flood it through the building, set off every alarm.
That's
We would
crazy.
just spend 12 hours a night just waiting for trucks to turn up to be able to disarm the alarm.
That's
and
nuts.
sometimes they'd take 8 hours. Like if the building
Yeah,
was on
because it's
fire.
doing everywhere.
Yeah,
It's doing it everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah, which was mental. Which is, it's good that, especially with how wet it's been lately, it doesn't look like we're going to be in that predicament at least this
It's pretty
year.
warm for
Fingers
how early
crossed.
it is in the year, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, 32. Like,
I mean, we are about to hit November.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, if anyone couldn't tell, Scott's also a mate, and I want to ask you boys, how did you actually meet? Because I don't know. Like,
Oh, that's
you guys have been,
beautiful,
you guys have been mates
That's
before.
exactly where I was trying to start trailing
Be-
this off to.
This is
Before-
where we're meant to start.
Yeah,
this
we've
is
literally
meant to
just been
start,
chatting
yeah.
shit. But yeah, you guys have been mates for a long time, and you both knew each other well before I came on the scene. So, can you explain to me how and when you met?
There's debate.
Perfect romance
There's
story.
debate.
Yeah, like I don't actually 100% know exactly. where,
I met him shooting Cootamundra for Andrew Hawkins.
All right.
yeah, that's where we first.
That's
met
where
at
we
Kuta.
first met,
Full,
right?
full circle here. Going
Absolutely
on.
full
How weird
circle,
is it?
right?
Yeah.
But he still maintains that he'd met me before.
And I think I now know where because we were talking about it the other day. We should have just saved it for the fucking podcast. But yeah, I remember because I'm the only one there. I know who Hawkins is. I've talked to him once or twice. I don't know anyone else there. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Don't know anyone, and I'm just sitting there as like a 17-year-old kid that's just gotten his P's and he just came out. And like I remember you were talking to Shane.
Can you put a picture of 17-year-old you up?
with your VS wagon with 415s.
Yeah, dude, that was the one that Kyle was at from
Yeah.
1320.
Yeah.
And he pulled me over to look at the sound system because Kyle from 1320, he was a car audio guy.
was he? All
when
right.
he was younger too. But yeah, aside from that, what the fuck? Where was I going with that?
How you
where we
met?
met, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember just looking around, and I knew who Shane was just because I knew who Hawkins was. And I
Who's
remember
Shane?
seeing
Shane Pike.
Yeah,
Inspired Existence.
Yeah, he
Oh,
won't
yeah.
even know who that is.
Mini truck videographer
mini
and
truck.
photographer.
Oh, yeah,
and
okay,
yeah.
Do you? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I was going to reference a video that you would have seen, but I know you won't remember it because our memory's
Yeah,
shit.
no,
but
no.
I know you would have seen
Yep.
it. But yeah, and then I remember seeing you, and I was like, oh, sweet. At least I recognize that guy and know who he is.
Yeah. See,
But you didn't know where you knew him from.
And then no. Well, I can't exactly pick it, but he's recently been doing on Instagram on the Talk Media page. He's been doing throwbacks,
Yep.
and he's been doing like every year. And I think it was 2015.
Yeah.
I see that he shot for the firefighters at Summernats on the burnout pad.
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, boom, exactly where I would have fucking known you from. Exactly. where
But
I-
did you just know the face or did
Yes,
you meet?
I- no, I knew the face.
Oh,
I knew
just
the
in the
face.
face.
Yeah.
But that was an epic weekend anyway, because like there was us, there was Kyle, there was Shane, and we are just having a ball covering this event, and we're there being paid, to shoot it, but we still had so much fun in it. And then on the Saturday night, we ended up laying out on a golf course in the middle of nowhere, photographing the stars.
Yeah, we're doing
right.
astrophotography with Kyle
it was
from 1320.
so
What the
random.
hell?
Yeah,
It
Was
was so-
1320 what it is now back then?
Yeah, that's why. That's
Oh,
why
like,
he
that's
was
massive.
That's why he was being flown over here to cover
okay.
the event. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Hawkins was flying him over to cover the event.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
It was
Hey, you
such
said
cool
like pure gentleman, eh?
Oh yeah, he's great. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
Such
yeah.
a nice guy.
Yeah. And like even when I've met him at Summernats and things like that, like he's still always got time for you. And like I mean, like Cletus, he's a lot bigger now. And I understand that when you reach that level of fame, you're not being a jerk. But if you give 5 minutes of time to everyone that wants to come up and talk to you, you've got
Would
no
you
time.
say Cletus's post recently about like people being jerks to him about not like he's there to race and they're
100%
trying to
agree.
sort new cars out like
I
mullet.
100% agree. And he said
I stay until
end
the
of the
last
event, yeah,
person.
100%.
And like just because I don't give you the attention you think you deserve right now.
Yeah, but I even see it with like when I'd go and shoot all the events for Jake Myers.
Yeah.
I would see it. They would be sweating, busting their ass doing maintenance on the car, and someone will bend down right next to their face. Hey mate, can you take a picture? Hey,
Yeah.
can you sign this? And it's like, read the room, read the scene. Like, just wait till at least he stands up,
And-
dries himself off, and then fucking ask
We've
him.
all been in the situation. Actually, 2 of the vehicles behind us been in the situation where you break something at an event. It's fucking stressful.
Oh yeah.
Same entry
Yeah.
number, by the way.
Yeah.
There must have been a cursed entry number.
I think it was.
Claimed the old VB engine over there and Mr. Wagon's engine in the same day.
Oh,
Because I took his VIP ticket. He sold me his VIP
Again,
ticket.
As we talked about last week, this man is cursed. If it does not show, his ticket, he ripped his VIP ticket off and gave it to Scott.
I sold it legitimately.
Oh,
Gup,
yeah,
if,
yeah,
you,
yeah.
Gup if you're listening.
Gup approved it.
Yeah.
And then it fucking and then yeah.
I literally
Rodnok.
went out.
Well, we probably did 5 laps after.
No, not even, because we put the sticker on and I said, I want to go get a new fan belt because my fan belt had started to shred, or my accessory belt. So we went out for 1 lap and halfway through that lap, it shredded. So I coasted it back into the pits, all good, no worries. Riley took me to the super cheap, we went and got a belt, came back and then realised the balancer had
was
actually
off,
fallen
yeah.
off. And the balancer had failed, because it was a brand new balancer, it had actually failed and fell off. So that's what did it.
And then bottom end knock.
And then-
because then it went off on the tilt tray.
Yeah.
Danny helped you out, sent it over to
Yeah, so Peter LSX
Yep.
put a new balancer on it,
Yep.
put a keyway in it, sent it back to the track.
Following day.
No, same day, like
Same day, was
2
it?
hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It
right.
was crazy.
Yeah.
And I took it out for a lap, followed him around to take photos.
Yeah.
And then he pulled off and I went, let's go. Went down, turn 2, clutch kick sideways, 4 people in the car, hooked it back to the left and
Whoa.
that's literally what it was. It got, I think it was 8 laps
Yeah, right.
the whole weekend.
On the V. No, not the whole weekend.
Yes, because
Well-
that was all Saturday.
Oh, was it? Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I had privilege of being in a couple of them at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't even get to go in your car this year.
No, you were too busy dealing with yours.
Yeah.
You know,
Teething
big
problems.
Stressful,
Big
stressful
blow
event.
burnout car life.
Stressful
Yeah.
event all round. VB motor gone. Diff gone.
Yep.
Motor gone.
Yeah, Powercruise sucks. Like, it's harsh on cars.
It was your inaugural event.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Powercruise is one of the best events out.
Yeah, same.
And as I said before, I take it as my event. I'll still shoot at it when I can.
Yep.
But I take it as my event to have fun in the car. But like, there's been some epic power cruises over the years, both in Sydney and Queensland.
What makes an epic power cruise? Is it when Gup decides to go that extra mile and make
Oh,
something
yeah.
fancy? Or is it just when the track seems to be more wild?
So-
'Cause I've only ever been to power cruise and it's been the exact fucking same every time, which is awesome. But I mean, like, some of the shit I hear he's done in previous times, it's like, come on, bro, please do that
Like,
again.
I love power cruise
give
no
us an
matter
example.
what.
I
Yeah.
don't- I've never heard of this.
$100,000 burnout comp.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Queensland Power Cruise, I think it was 2016 or 17.
Yeah.
He did a 100K burnout comp. It was a $1,000 buy-in or $2,000 buy-in, whatever it was. And it wasn't the full 100,000. It was like 89,000 or something like
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
but it came down to like how many people bought in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponsors putting money in. Gup
Yeah.
putting his own money in.
Yeah. But it was an epic event. And
all the big boys, like no.
Why weren't you there?
Dude, I didn't even fucking know about it then.
Oh,
but
right.
they were like burnout masters level cars. All of them from Australia came around because it's such a fucking big comp.
Big dollar, like
Huge.
No,
Yeah.
like we would never. I don't
to,
think.
to this
no
day,
one-
I don't think.
Nah.
I think the only one was there was. I know it was motivation or something else over in Perth. I think 3 years ago where Hold On won, and I think that was like 50 grand.
Yeah, right.
And
That's
that's
still big
gnarly.
money.
Yeah.
Still big
still
money.
huge money, but
Could sacrifice a motor for that.
yeah, well, yeah, you almost would.
Yeah.
Well, as like who won the 100K burnout comp?
Well, it was Brasher. Brasher won that, but I think he had 3 entries in it. So
Yeah, that's
could
right. You
buy
could
back in.
rebuy
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
So Gup's just like, yeah, sure, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
Yeah,
ahead, man.
absolutely. So that was
And-
epic. And then in Sydney, he did one, I think it was the following year, and he brought Jeff Lutz out.
Yep.
And he brought Dominator out.
Yep.
And they loved it. And Jeff brought one of his 57s over.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it broke a gearbox on like in the burnout box.
Yeah, righto.
But he did lights out drag racing at the dragway.
He's loving his lights out again, but
it's so good.
But he's doing it on the unprepped roll racing main straight.
And he like because he's been talking to like Motive about producing some of the content for it, and just like how we always talk about how Gup.
Are you talking out of school? You talking work stuff here?
Maybe
Because I don't think that's.
No, all I was going to comment on was that like I just wish. Because he wants to make it like the TV show Street Outlaws.
Yeah.
And I just wish that he would really commit and invest the time and money into making it just like that TV show, because we fucking could.
But without all the fake drama.
Exactly. Without the fake
Didn't
drama.
say that. No.
I mean, with some of the characters in Sydney, you don't need to write it.
No,
it's just going to happen.
there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if doing it at Powercruise is the right time, because there's so much going on. People are catching up. I feel like it's like Summernats. Everyone's there to see mates as well.
Yeah.
And then moving people from the circuit track up to...
But it worked. It did work at that event. It's happened twice now. It's worked. Because on the Friday
Well, then
night
why didn't you keep it on, do you think?
it just cost.
Yeah.
Because Friday night was the drag racing, and then Saturday night he hired the burnout pad and did the burnouts there instead of doing them over at the creek.
Which is awesome, because I
Which is
fucking
great.
hate that pad at the
Me
bottom
too.
of the
But
of the
I think
straight.
now, with the
Yeah.
fact that Sydney Motorsport Park is also lit, there's an opportunity to do a night cruise session.
We were only talking... So we went out for
Roll racing
the other night.
Yeah.
And it was all lit up, and there's new banners, and there's a new board over the top.
Yeah.
And
There's a couple of them.
There's
and they
good
look
stuff going on
awesome.
out
like,
there.
like track boards kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think there's
It's Sydney's
potential.
new dragway after what's going on at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get into that.
Yeah,
But we'll
I
say-
wrote down I wanted to talk about that.
So we'll stay on what we're talking about. But
yeah.
there is a real opportunity there. But then that squeezes the burnouts and the drags. Because then all of a sudden you've...
I think the issue with Sydney Powercruise, or not an issue, but the thing with Sydney Powercruise is it's different to Queensland Powercruise. Queensland Powercruise, they've got their facilities like they do in Sydney. They've got the drag strip that's separate to the track.
But it's all one thing?
But it's still one thing. But it's the same as what Gup did in Sydney. But up there, they all want to race, because Queensland
Yeah.
Raceway is 4 straights and a couple of small turns.
Yeah, that's right.
When you talk to Hawkins and when he talks about when he chats with a Gup, they hate Sydney because of the
Everyone wants to drift.
They go to Powercruise to race.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
yeah.
go for power skids, drifting.
Yeah. So taking it back to PCM, that was too loose because everyone was on brake, catching fire, doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Queensland, I feel, is boring because I don't have a super fast car.
Yeah, yeah,
I have a
that's
car that
right.
I want to have some fun in.
Yeah.
But
you can clutch
still,
kick that and then still have a great time.
Exactly.
In it. Yeah.
But you still have opportunities to race at Sydney on
Yeah.
2 straights. But
Yeah.
there's only 2 straights. There's
Yeah.
not 4 like Queensland.
But I will say it is disheartening, and even like I got that competitive streak in me. You come around onto the straight, I expect for both cars to gun it.
Absolutely.
And I reckon there's like you might do 15 laps at Powercruise over a whole weekend, depending if you're VIP or not, and there's a lot of cars that just don't even gun it.
Yeah.
And that's what Hawkins
That's
says
disheartening.
too. Yeah, Hawkins always goes on about, he's like, man, people in Sydney, if they don't think they're going to win, they just won't race
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
They
Yeah.
will not race you unless they guarantee they're going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I'll still race people in that. I race people 5
it's
deep
fun,
in that.
man. Everyone
Yeah,
gives
yeah.
each other the thumbs up. And
Well, it's not even
yeah.
a race. It's not even like a race. It's just like, let's just both flog it and
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
where...
Yeah.
But I think Sydney is the best compromise of both in one spot.
Is that because you're from Sydney, though? Because I reckon
And
all the
potentially-
Queenslanders love
Potentially,
Queensland.
But I've
Yeah.
experienced both, and you have people from Melbourne who come to Sydney. You have people from Queensland that come to Sydney, but you don't have people who go from Melbourne to Queensland Powercruise.
I feel like it's a bigger
That's a long
event, but
distance.
I wonder if it's because we're in the scene, like in the Sydney scene,
100%.
because
Well,
we
a
don't
lot-
see much content come from Queensland.
And the thing that is so hard to judge about it is you hear so many people that go to both. Some will say that Queensland's better. Some will say that
Are
Sydney's
they got
better.
a drag car? Or they got a
No.
car that like
a lot of these are burnout guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, the best thing about Queensland is the track's flat, so you can see where
Yeah.
everyone is.
Yeah,
You
so
can
Owen-
see who's ahead of you. I think that's what Owen was saying.
Yeah, Owen was saying, yeah.
And I think Mitch was saying that too.
Yeah.
And they're like, because they're not banked corners, they're better to drift, like things like that. Whereas I would have assumed that a banked corner would make it better.
I like the fact that Sydney Dragway, like Sydney Motorsport Park, turn 2 and turn 3 is kind of on camber, off
Yeah,
camber,
yeah.
because it does
That
give you a little
terrifies
bit, a little bit more fun, especially in
kinda
a big
helps you,
boaty
kinda
car.
helps you,
You
yeah.
can kind of just
Yeah,
rock
yeah.
it through the corner a little bit.
100%, yeah.
And I think once you're more familiar with how your car handles, you're going to have a lot of fun through those corners.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely start, like where I'm going to start and like progress from is turn 5 up the hill.
Yeah.
But that's because from watching a lot of people, literally while exiting the corner, because it's going uphill and it's so wide and it's still going out to
Gets
the
slippery
right.
up top.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
I
other
think
cars
I'll be out
turning
of it by
around up
then.
top, and you're doing big speed by the time you get up
I
there.
think it's such a big
And there's a lot
sweeping
of
corner.
accidents up there too.
Big sweeping corner, and too many people are stopping.
Yeah,
and that's always the biggest
Oh,
issue.
mate, that's infuriating
But
through there.
it goes kind of both ways, because you have someone who will go up there who won't stop, but will bake the tyres and then block the track from smoke.
That's right,
And then
yeah.
the next person goes, well, I'm already stopped. I may as well just do a skid.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
it just
yeah.
compounds.
Chain reaction.
It just compounds.
Yeah.
So I think I understand
that-
where
that
people
is-
are frustrated
that-
with
yeah.
that. I totally understand why people get frustrated with turn 5. But at the same time, it's one of the best corners.
I'm hoping VYs and VZs are becoming more valuable and less people would be likely.
No.
They are the culprits.
Yeah, but
I'm-
is that then to say that a VE will meet its day where it's a $2,000 dunger and it just takes its place?
It was on
No,
its
no,
way.
yeah, it was on Chaga
VE.
for that, but there's no more corridors being made. No.
Yeah.
Oh, good point. Good point. Good
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
I sold like a full GDS replica for $11,000, like 6 litre. That thing,
Yeah.
like an SS, but in a full GDS replica, that thing's probably bloody 25 grand car at the moment. You know?
I bought the first wagon that had the accident. I bought that for 10 grand.
Yeah.
Whereas
10 grand.
I bought mine, 4 years earlier than you, and I bought that for 30.
Yeah.
but
So they did that steep
literally-
drop and
I
then
was
they did a
just
steep
about to say,
increase.
I hit that dip just, and then now it's gone back.
Well, I
Yeah.
bought the
Yeah.
SS, a stock VESS, and it was like an 08, it was early, for $8,000.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
Which
And then I
is-
did a full GDS conversion on it, and I sold it for like 2 grand more.
Well, that front end cost me 5.
Yeah.
Like it's just and if anyone wants to buy it, it's 60 grand, 80, 90, 100 grand. But like
One of one.
Yeah, one exactly. But it's just parts are so hard to get. It was
Hey,
already
did you know
a
they
rare.
didn't make them in a Senator, a wagon?
Never made a Senator wagon. There was 800 and something made, 830 Senators made.
Yeah.
Like it was already a rare bar to begin with.
Yeah.
But
100%.
I certainly do not want a front accident in that, because I don't
No.
think the insurance company is going to be happy about that at all.
Well,
That's
how
what
would
you get
even-
insurance for.
Yeah, how would you even like claim that to them, kind of thing?
They know. I put it on the policy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, they're fully aware. I'm not
Yeah.
silly. You got to make sure they're fully aware of that stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I'm not losing money on that.
Nah. Now, one question that I really wanted to ask you, because like, especially with burnout cars, you are very opinionated on the way that you would like your own burnout car. Now, what made you pick up the camera and want to shoot burnouts instead of be in the seat doing burnouts?
Well, a camera costs $3 grand, not 300 grand for a car.
But you see people like
That's how a lot of young fellas start, is because they can't afford it.
Yeah.
It's-
but you
the
see
scene's expensive.
You see half of the events are like, I know, like, well, not know personally, but like, you remember that the online documentary that I think Vice did, and it had the car Little Shit that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that car's got like $3 grand in it. Maybe, I don't know how much is in it, but like, there's still options. You can still do it. Like,
I think, I studied photography at uni. I kind of got out of it for a bit. I got back into it, and I was sitting in the stand and just shooting, and I was having fun, and it just escalated from there. And I think if I was to ever build I don't think I've ever built a pro burnout car. I certainly built a party car, and I've got
Yeah.
plans on what I want to build for a party car. But then that takes away from the photography. And so I'd then pick in which events I want to shoot at, which events I'd want to compete at.
makes it hard
And
to
it does.
I-
And I'm sure you're getting it from making content.
I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it, and I got really worried there for a while, and I had to say something to Mick, and that was that he was prioritising the car over the channel. Now the car
Powercruise
is the
was hard.
channel.
Powercruise was hard,
Which is where
because-
you need to make the differentiation like I do. And I say the photography comes second at Powercruise.
Yeah, well, this year I said because the car is in a teething process and it is the first time I've ever owned a car, we have fun first, then we film.
Yeah.
But like,
But we ended up with no film.
I know.
We ended up with no footage from
I know,
Powercruise.
I know. And yeah, that was
Like we were scratching our, like we were piecing
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
together for
You
that.
almost need maybe Indy to pick up the camera and just
100%.
film
I think
anything
Well, I
and
think
everything.
now we got the GoPros so that
Yeah.
anyone can crack them
and
open.
I want to work the other way. I want there to be someone that is like dedicated just mechanic to doing like maintenance, making sure the car's good to go.
Not some bullshit.
Pretty much, not like just like having a mate or someone or
Hey,
like
how much money's in those pockets there, mate?
not a mechanic, but just a mate that actually is car inclined enough to change oil, make sure things are fine. Like I can look over that stuff, and I'm not a fucking mechanic.
No,
Like,
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, that's a lot of pressure on someone else.
Yeah, then something goes wrong with your engine, and then, you know.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, but like, I would much rather be at the point where I can like you can just make it so that you just get in the car and drive it, and all I'm doing is focusing on content.
Hey, you look at
That's
You look at
ideal.
Cletus's level, and they're still not doing that. Cletus is still crawling under the cars.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't want to stop doing it, and I'd say that he's doing it because that's still passion, and he wants to be, and I still want to be doing that too.
Yeah. I think controversial topic for you, but I think going blown mechanical methanol takes that ease and reliability away.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to do oil changes at Powercruise. You're going to have to look at that kind of stuff. You're going to look at the content. You're going to have to check over all that stuff.
I'm not about reliability, though.
No,
I feel
no,
like it's
not-
super simple.
Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily that, but there's a lot more to it than just getting in a car that's EFI and just turning the key and off you go.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Oh,
eh?
yeah,
And like, I've even said that about the big block being built and like dealing with Mick's one, and I'm like, oh, man, there's a lot of money that rides on these. You know, you could be talking 70 grand in the big block.
Yeah.
And it's like not doing an oil change and getting too much fuel in your oil, and you could that motor could be
Bearings,
toast.
yeah, gone.
Could be toast.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a scary thought. And
Yeah.
because I don't overly love doing the maintenance on them.
Yeah, and
No.
he doesn't love the whole tomato sauce bottle.
No,
thing.
I don't love that.
So his
I love the monster of a car, and I feel like I'm a driver. I love getting out there and driving, and I saw that in you. You didn't love that as much as I do. I just want to do laps, hey?
Yeah.
I just want to get in and do as many laps as I can.
This is the thing with this car, and this is what really annoyed me, is that for years it's just been OTR tune exhaust,
Yeah.
and it is loved every minute. I do an oil change before, I
Yeah.
do an oil change after Powercruise, and it loved it. It never overheated, it never had any issues. Everyone's every year put a cam in it, put a cam in it, put a cam in it. I'm like, nah, it'll break. Put a cam in it, nah, it'll break. I put a cam in it, it broke.
see unopened engines, bro.
Unopened LS engines are just king, and if you bin it, you throw it away, you put another one in.
Nah,
I
not
know
anymore.
Prices,
Not anymore.
prices are way up, but you can still find like 4.8s and 5.3s getting imported into Australia that are still pretty cheap.
Yeah, but as an NA, a 4.8 and a 5.3 aren't great.
They're not.
Like I wouldn't. You need to boost that.
You do. You still
Like-
need something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you get a 5.3 truck motor, I'm happy to throw some boost in that.
A 5.3 truck
Yeah,
motor
yeah.
with a cam.
But I mean, like if he was to, if the 6 litre went, and then
Yeah.
to replace that with a 5.3, you're going backwards.
yeah.
It's definitely not.
100%,
Yeah, definitely
yeah,
wouldn't have done
yeah.
that. I would have
Yeah.
put a 6.2 in it if the block went.
Yeah.
I would have put a 6.2 in. But for something like a burnout car, especially a party car, like some of the like Duffman or like Gus Boy, those guys that have got smaller cars, Corollas or whatever it might be, you know, you just get a basic combo
Oh,
together.
I agree with that. Like power to weight, I don't think you can do that in a VE, VF because
No.
they're just they're porky. You're talking
Yeah.
1900 kilos, aren't you?
It's 21 and something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
You need some power to get that thing moving.
Versus a
100%.
and they
12
grip up well.
Oh, absolutely.
They grip up super well.
But a 1,200 kilo Corolla doesn't need that.
no,
No,
not at all.
yeah.
Still an LS1 with a cam and away you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we've like, and you see so many cars from WA, like I was telling you yesterday.
Yeah, I don't.
So many cars with unopened LSs, and they're trying to kill them, and they're blown like burnout cars, mechanical injection methanol, and they can't. They just can't.
One of my mates, Mark, he runs PSC at Penrith. He has a Barbados Green SLR 5000.
Yeah, I know
whatever, right?
the Tirana. Yep.
The Tirana, yeah.
Yep.
So it had a LS1 with just a top end valve train stuff done and a big dirty turbo on it.
Yeah.
And he ran it for years without any issues. He built a big 6-litre combo for it and went, I'm not going to put it in until I kill this motor. Did a whole session at Powercruise with no water in the system and thought he blew it up. Cool, no worries, all good, no worries. One of his mates goes, I think it might be a rocker or something, pulls the cover off, puts a new rocker in it, and went for a whole nother session without any fluid in it.
What?
It's just a monster. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
went. And some of them are like that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But then I still understand where you come from. You look at Mitch just before Powercruise with the VX.
Yeah.
He had that entire blower combo on a dead stock LS1. and-
Started it and it
No, literally on the trailer,
Yeah.
like just idling, and it just like kicked a leg out of bed.
And it done a
Rods
whole
out.
dyno session, got home, just started up, and it just threw a leg.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But some of them are like that, and some of them, you know, it's just time.
It is luck. It is luck. A lot of it just.
Yeah, and I can't necessarily blame putting the cam in that. It might have happened had I not put the cam in it. I might have just gone around turn 2 at full throttle and just went bang anyway.
At the end of the day, you're putting more stress on them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
as soon as anything gets more stress, you don't know how close it was. You know, it could
thing-
happen
the thing
1,000
I
Ks
just-
later with no cam.
The thing I just always worry about is the difference between spending 70K on a big built engine and spending $4,000 on an unopened fucking 300,000K dunger. They could both go at any time. One could outlast the other
Yeah.
because parts failure is fucking real and it is stressful because for no reason, with proper maintenance, well built, everything, it can go like that for no explained
Well,
reason.
there was a case in the last 12 months where I think it was set a certain brand, I won't mention it, but lifters. They weren't
Really?
weren't
Yeah.
going. And like engines were being claimed left, right, and center. And like
That is so hard to
APM had to
claim.
redo engines, and they would do all their labor, so they don't warrant parts, but they would have to redo all the labor on the engine because of a parts failure.
That is shocking. But how do you? Can you diagnose it?
Yeah.
That like, can you get down to that grit to diagnose
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Oh, it's a
absolutely.
failed
In a
lift up.
head, easy. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I suppose if you end up kicking a rod and then pulling the engine down, there's one thing in the head that like that's in Australia, like, yeah, shit.
You'll
And
see,
if it keeps going with that brand, right?
yeah.
Oh, that is a good point. Yeah, when
Yeah.
you see the outliers, it starts to happen
If
more
you've
and
used
more.
that 4 or 5 times and 4 or 5 of those engines have gone,
yeah, 100%.
there's a common denominator.
yeah.
I think in terms of cost benefit, though, like I think we're kind of on the same page as this. If you could go through 10 $3,000 engines for the same price as building one engine.
It depends on like what your goal is. If you're happy with 5, 6, 700 horsepower, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you start putting 1200 into an unopened motor, that thing's not going to last.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, even the wagon, like on the pad, like that is uncontrollable, and that's like maybe what, 700 at the wheels?
Yeah, probably 700.
Yeah.
wheels,
Fix
yeah.
your camber
What, on the rear or the front?
on the front.
Bro, that helps you steer. That's
Righto,
drifter technology, bro. Fitment.
Who's on the JDs?
I think that's what Indy dropped off when
Oh,
she came
did
over
she?
here before, because it just appeared.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I was like, just saw that.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll have a drink when we finish this up then.
Guess so.
Yeah.
And-
Well, we've done pretty well so far. We're at 57 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
look, we haven't even like really covered like much.
I know. Well, we still ended up sneaking into like how we met and things like that. But yeah, we still got most of it covered, which
Yeah, I
is
think
which
so.
is good. And like less awkward pauses.
Heaps less.
I don't think I'm going to have to edit out anything in this.
No, maybe
Which,
just
yeah,
what we're
is pretty
talking
good.
now, but yeah.
That's good.
Well, bro, I'll probably just leave this in. It's real.
Why not?
Yeah. That's awkward silence. Oh. Well, I mean, what else is that? Like, is there anything else that you really want to cover while you're here?
When did it become Talk Media? So you started
Has it
as...
always been Talk Media?
Well, okay, so that was end of 2013. Me and my best mate Adam, we kind of wanted to do like we were kind of sick of posting car stuff on our own personal Facebooks.
Yeah.
So we wanted to create a place that we could do both photography, but also articles, and people could share content and all of that.
Yep.
So we started this. We hunted for ages. We were trying to come up with a name, and we thought it kind of worked. Like Talk could be TALK,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff. But
Double entendre.
yeah, but very, very quickly it turned into just me sharing my photography.
Yep.
And Adam was busy, he had his own life, and he didn't have time for it anymore, so I kind of just took it over. He's still an admin, he still does help from time to time with stuff.
Yeah, right.
But it basically just turned into my photography, and that's where it kind of, took off from. And I just, like, as soon as you said, all week I've been posting throwbacks on our stories.
Yeah, they're fucking awesome.
And they've been really cool going back, and you don't really realise how much you actually have covered.
Yeah.
And 2016...
And grown, right?
oh,
Like, I remember after one of the events, you sort of showed a picture that you'd done, I think it might have been of the Purple Roller from back in the day.
yeah.
Frappin',
Yeah.
but when it wasn't
Oh,
Frappin'.
Yeah, when it was Nick's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you posted a picture of like back then when you were taking photos and now,
Yep.
and like the stark difference.
Even
you know?
just year on year. So there was 2 Brashnats. I think that was 16 and 17.
So
or
you
15 and 16.
paid to shoot Brasher?
No. This
Okay.
is all. I've had a few paid gigs. Most of my profit or sale or money comes from sales of
Yeah, right.
photos.
Yep.
So Hawkins has paid me to cover a few events.
Yep.
I've had a few other clients that have asked me to cover events, but for the most part, it's just all on my own dime.
Yep.
So going to Brashnats Darwin was an expensive trip. 2016, I did Brashnats Darwin. I did Queensland Powercruise. I did Sydney Brashnats, Sydney Powercruise, PCM, like all within the space of like, I don't know, 8 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Yeah.
And like typically, how many would you sell after an event? And do you break even on them?
No.
No?
Oh, over the
when
course.
you get legends like Pete, who'll always just buy anything you do.
Oh,
and
Pete
always
Thompson
support.
just buys everything.
Does
I
he?
love him.
Yeah,
That
Pete-
bloke
Pete's
is a
a
fucking
legend.
He is so
legend.
good.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Over the course of, like, let's say I buy a new camera, a new body, right? So an A7 Mark III, that Sony, that's what I shoot now. It's about $3,000
Yep.
for a body, right?
Yep.
Over the course of the 2 years that I'll shoot with that body, I will pay it back.
Yep.
But it's
But
not,
then what about your cost to get there?
No.
Everything else that's involved?
Do you,
Still at
but
a
do
loss.
you believe that half of that is it's just the fun of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
100%.
people you meet.
Yep.
It's the stories you have. It's the adventures you have.
That's the best bit.
And can
Yeah.
I say, Scott, I wouldn't know that you have them for sale.
Yeah.
Like, you don't advertise that
No.
as openly as what I would think.
That's what I was going to say when we get to the end of this, like to plug all your shit and where you can get stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the
like,
website.
maybe you should plug that harder.
Yeah,
And
and I should, but I don't want to also.
But you just need to get it across on more platforms.
I
which is
don't want
harder.
to
like
shove it down people's faces. I think I don't want to do
No, but
Facebook
people
advertisements and.
people love their cars, and they
Yeah.
spend huge money on these
yeah,
cars.
but
being,
you're different. Like you're on a high level. You're willing to pay for someone's stuff. You have your own business. You understand how that works. A lot of people.
I
don't
love
wanna pay
supporting
for it.
other businesses.
Yeah, me too.
I bought your shirt. I buy Picnic
Everything,
shirts.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as soon as someone puts out some merch, I'm like, you know what?
Absolutely.
Like, these guys are out there putting themselves out there. And like, if it wasn't for being a part of Picnic, I wouldn't put myself out there. And I'm super passionate about a lot
Yeah.
of this stuff,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't put myself out there. Now, I see you guys put yourselves out there, and I see how much work goes into it in the background. And I think, you know, there needs to be a reward for it.
You're legit like the top 5%. No,
No
one wants to
joking.
pay.
Yeah,
No one wants to
absolutely.
pay. No one wants to pay.
So I do.
I saw you have a rant not that long ago about it where, like, people like get the shits when they ring you up and say, come shoot my car, and then you say, yeah, a couple $100 or whatever, and they'll
Which is
what?
nothing.
What?
Yeah. So I know that a lot of more experienced photographers are upset at me about how little I charge.
Yeah.
Because for an event photo, I'll charge $50 for a digital image.
Yep.
It's personal use. You go and print it, put it on your garage wall.
Yep.
All
Yep.
good, no worries.
Yep.
$50.
Yep.
That's
Which
cheap.
that should be more like 500. Or
Yeah,
more.
righto.
Yeah.
It's cheap as. And then for a personal car shoot,
Yep.
we'll go down to an industrial area and shoot your car, $150. You'll get 15 photos out
Man,
of it.
that's cheap as.
It's
that
cheap
that
as.
should be more expensive.
It should
that is
be.
such value for money.
But the
Yeah.
amount of people that will message you and go, it's $150, and what do I get for that?
What?
Fucking photos, sick photos.
Yeah,
and
and-
all you'll drop a price and they'll just never reply.
Yeah.
Just see it. Never
And I
reply.
did a deal a couple of years ago where I took 50% off for the end of financial year for the whole month of June.
Yep.
I had 2 people message me and they actually turned around and said, we're going to give you the whole amount.
Oh, that's good.
Which was really awesome.
That is awesome.
But that's
Yep.
2 people in an entire month.
Yeah, that's nuts, hey.
So I get
nuts.
it, and I understand right now that money
What
is
do you-
super tight.
No, but it's not. These people are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars
people
into
are
these
spending,
cars.
if not, they're spending more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
what? Yeah, where do you think the tightness comes in around the photography? Because they think they can do it on their iPhone? Is that where it comes from?
Because I don't know. Because people.
There's part of that.
The worst thing for it is when you have someone else that's. Okay, it's not the worst thing because when you're trying to make a name for yourself, you need to do stuff for free just to get shit rolling. But then people don't
Crossing that
they
line
don't
then into a
understand
business
their
becomes
value.
hard,
And
yeah.
then someone else is doing it for free. So when they try to go to get someone else, and they say there's money involved, they're like, it shouldn't be.
It's a trickle down because the more experienced photographers that have been in it for 30 years, they might charge $1,000 for a photo shoot,
Yeah.
and they look at me and go, "You're only charging that? You're giving us a bad
Yeah,
name."
you're the problem in the industry,
And then
right?
I look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
people who are doing it for free, and I go, "Come on, man, you really should be charging."
Yeah.
It's your time, it's your effort, and I understand that people are still learning and practicing, and I will give them as much help. The amount of people that message me and go, "Hey, what do you think about this? What do you use? How do you edit? What do you
Yep,
do?"
yep.
And I've put out a couple of videos on how I edit my photos
Yep.
to give people advice on how
Yep.
to do that. And I will happily help people, and I want as many people to shoot at events as
Do you
possible.
think, though, the difference is that you hold a full-time job that's not photography? Because these guys who
Yeah.
are doing this
Oh, yeah.
as their profession,
Yep.
Which is the minute because it's impossible. It's so
especially
hard to do.
cars, it's minute,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
you
Like, the
know.
only one I can think of that does it full time is Larry Chen. Who else? And he's the guy
Yeah.
that mainly shoots for Hoonigan.
He's
Yeah.
American, isn't he?
Yeah,
In
right.
Australia, you've got a couple of full-time. Their main clientele is car photography, but they do other stuff to support
Matthew
it.
Everingham, is he full time?
Yeah, he's full-time.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah.
You got Ben Hosking, he's full-time. He was the editor for Street Commodores.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Street
is he?
Machine.
Yeah.
He does a lot of Street Machine.
Yeah, so he
Right.
does all of so
So
many
he's
of
got
those shoots.
Hoskins Industries, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
he
that's
does
him.
Yeah.
most of the cover, like a lot
What
of the
about
cover
Danny
stuff
Jet?
as well.
Danny Jet, he's one of my best mates.
Yeah,
He's a
train
champion.
driver as well. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Bus driver.
Yeah. Oh, bus driver.
He's a bus driver.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we'll
right.
go to events, me, him, Liz, Tim from SAR Photography, like we'll all join together and we'll look at each other. And every time there's a new person on the pad, "Hey mate, how are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. You know what you're doing? It's all good."
Yeah.
And we've got this little group at Sydney Dragway that we love hanging out with. Simon from Street Machine, he comes and shoots.
Yep.
We
He's
all get
awesome.
along
He's-
so
Simon
well.
Telford?
No, Simon.
He's a lot taller.
Grey hair.
Yeah, great.
Best looking dude you've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, yeah.
And he drives the coolest
Yeah.
little Fairlane.
Oh, I know
so-
who you're talking. No, I don't.
If you just at Summernats, look
Yeah.
for the tall photographer on the pad.
Yeah.
And you'll see him straight away. Yeah.
So you have us on the burnout pad and we'll shoot, an entire event. And I try to get out the best quality photos as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
if it
yeah.
takes a couple of days, it takes a couple of days.
We talk about this with Summernats, is that like time is of the essence with these events.
At Summernats, I'll edit at night while I'm drinking at the campsite, and I'll upload then.
That's like exactly what you're saying. Where you're like Summernats, I want to like I'm seeing people I haven't seen for a year and everything. Whereas for me, of course, I fucking love it and love every second of it. But the business aspect, it is like that's how you mass market by just creating content. That's how you reach most people.
Well, you blew up from the Summernats.
Exactly.
You made a video every day.
And that was because I fucking hustled, and like every night you wouldn't go to bed until 3 a.m. because you had to get that video.
Hey, the 10%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting messages from mates in the US that are like, "Oh, I just saw your car on a video." And you're like, really? And then I didn't even know his video was up yet.
Everyone's fucking looking for it.
Yeah,
you're the first there.
Oh, mate, I'd go back to the hotel and all I want to see is the event from the day.
Exactly, yeah. So it's going to be hard this year, especially if because we're going to be camping there. I'm literally going to have to take time out of my day, maybe just going to Mitch's trailer and just shut off from everyone, try and smash the edit.
Do you guys not get power over that side?
Yeah, we get power.
We get power, but I'm literally going to have to like
just shut himself out.
Step away from the fun and crank out the content to get it out to people.
Come over to our campsite, it's boring. We're quiet. People are in bed by 11 o'clock.
We're like 8 campsites in a row. It's going to be wild.
Our marquee, I think, is one of the best spots. We had some mates that had a spot right on Tough Street, and when there was no fences and when it was party central, it was the best.
Are you where Benny goes? And Andrew
down from that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So where the kick-out lane is?
Right on the fence where everyone gets kicked out.
Yeah, where everyone gets kicked out, that little alleyway, we're right there.
I didn't even know that was camping right there.
Yeah, all those big white marquees.
No, I must be thinking of a different spot. I'm thinking of the kick-out spot where the 90-degree bend is after
down
Tough Street.
Opposite end of Tough Street.
That's the new kick-out spot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so this is when Tough Street was big, and they'd kick you out like the top end of Tough Street, like where you get on Skid Row now.
Yeah.
You got that gate exit there.
Yeah, we're basically across from the entry to Skid Row.
Yeah, okay, yep. Yeah, there's all those massive big tents all the way along there.
That's where they all camp.
Yeah, but like Summernats, I'll try and get as much content out as possibly can. At other events, I will take my time to edit, but I'll still get out, next day, day after, that kind of stuff. Some people will take a little bit longer because they also have full-time jobs. Liz, she works, a 100-hour week.
Yep.
So she take a little while to get out. Danny,
what's her company?
Right on Cue Photography. Yeah. She's got a killer VP Aero.
Oh, right.
And her partner
is Spastic.
Michael Pratton.
He's I know Spastic. Yeah.
So then Danny, he'll leave the track, he'll go home, have 3 hours sleep, and then go to work in the morning.
Crazy.
So like we all.
Well, even when we were at Brusher, I think it was, and you were over with us in the car park until like midnight nearly, I think.
Yeah.
And you had work the next day.
Yeah.
Well, and at the same time, at events like Brusher, he's editing like pad side. He'll bring his computer down, and literally while there's cars still skidding, he'll be editing and uploading.
That's a new thing that's only I've started the last kind of
that's the
year
extra 10%,
or so.
Because when you've got other great photographers there, and like you've got to have an edge.
Yeah.
That is
you're constantly looking for it, right?
Like when you just come off the pad, you want to see it.
Yeah.
So if you've got sick photos as soon as you open your phone, like
something that
awesome.
Doesn't get taken into consideration is when you've got your own vehicle at these events, it's so much more taxing, isn't it?
Oh man, it is impossible.
Like it's crazy. Like it is hard to juggle everything. I reckon by the end of Summernats, you're going to get crook again because you'll just be that run down, no sleep, party, editing, filming, maintaining the car.
Yeah.
Like that. It's only 4 days, but 4 days no sleep and all of that.
That's what I enjoy about the burnout car side of it. Whereas like Powercruise, if you're working on your car, you're missing out on track time.
Yep.
With a burnout event, and you've got one burnout that day, possibly you get.
But you got $300,000 invested for one burnout. To me, that's not enough driver time.
Oh, you still get to cruise and everything like that, but
they don't. Those pro guys, they just don't.
Guys don't. But I'm just saying, I enjoy a burnout event like that because it forces you to have time to process and take things and be like, all right, cool. Whereas, like Powercruise is very overwhelming because if there is time where you need to be doing maintenance or something, like you're losing out.
My biggest thing about Summernats is that my Thursday night is my have a really, really good time party night.
Yep.
Because it's quieter. It's normally a little bit cooler.
Yep.
And it's your first night there. Friday night, you don't go as hard. Saturday night, you definitely don't go as hard because you got to drive home on Sunday. You don't have that problem. Well, you didn't have that problem.
I got it now, yeah.
You got it now living in Sydney. You're going to have to do the Sunday drive home, which
car goes to mum's. Stay at mum's on the Sunday
Sunday
night.
is the hardest part of that drive home. It sucks.
Has he told you about his depression on Sundays when everyone's leaving Canberra?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Canberra turns into normal Canberra after we all leave. So, but I find because the heat gets bad, the heat gets you get heat stroke, and if you're one of those people that's just going to go there and bender for 4 days, enjoy it.
Yeah.
But for me, Thursday night's my party night. Friday I'm editing. Saturday I'm editing. I'm heading home Sunday and having a big long shower and trying to burn the car down.
Friday night, go a little hard, get arrested, spend the night in the cell.
Oh, is that you?
Our most enjoyable part of that is Friday nights. We'll all get a drink and we'll just walk through the hall after everything's been unveiled. So
sounds amazing.
The unveil happens in the afternoon, late, like 6 o'clock kind of thing.
Yep.
Let it happen. Let it disperse.
Yep.
It closes at 11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
You go in there at 9:30. It's
Is
quieter.
that Saturday or Friday?
Friday night.
night.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
quieter. It's cooler.
Yeah.
And you just go around and you are
I'm surprised they let it
shit-faced.
open that long.
Yeah, I think the last year it was closed a bit early. I think it was 10. But the year before it was definitely 11. And we were in there shit-faced.
Do we know entertainment for this year has been released?
I don't think it has. Yeah, I have no idea.
Nikki
Yeah.
Webster?
That would be awesome. I'd love them strawberry kisses.
I was going to say. But yeah, I love Summernats. It's definitely one of the better events.
I like to be grateful and sit back and think about like how blessed we are for having such a fucking sick event for cars that
It's
we can
not just
build
Summernats though. Our entire calendar, once COVID's over, our calendar is going to be packed.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
And looking back at all the events I went to, like I think it was 16. I went to like 6 events and then to the US in the space of
Oh, yeah, because you went
3
to SEMA,
months.
didn't you?
I went to SEMA.
Yeah.
That's
In the
nuts.
space of 3 months.
Yeah, that's
It
nuts.
was ridiculous. And it
How
was
did you afford SEMA when you were 16?
no, it's 2016.
Oh, I was
not
like-
when I was 16.
Yeah, right.
No.
You wouldn't have been able to get in.
No.
What?
SEMA's a trade
It's
event.
actually a trade show.
It's a trade
Yeah.
So you need to
yeah.
either be in the trade or
have your own business.
I have an ABN. I pay my taxes. I've got a business. So, yeah, but
Is that for the police watching? You pay your taxes? If
SEMA.
the ATO's watching,
Yeah,
I pay my
exactly.
taxes.
But I love SEMA. I think it's an epic event. If you can get to it, you really should. But it is so overwhelming. You think about how tired you are after Summernats,
Yeah.
after a weekend of Summernats, 10 times.
Yeah, right.
It's-
Why, just size of it?
It's the size of it.
The
It's
steps.
it's the steps. Like I was doing 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
And then partying at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last time we went in 2019.
Burning the candle at both ends.
Oh, 2019, we went to the C10 Vartos party. I'm really big into C10s and I really want to buy one, but they're just getting really expensive.
Yeah.
But we went to a party and it was just at a bar and we were all just having drinks and like Mike Finnegan was there
Yeah, right.
and all these big names were there and they were just chilling. We were all just hanging out. And everyone who heard our accent was like, you guys from Australia, you guys can drink. Here, have beers.
Yeah,
Here,
right.
have shots.
Have
Here.
some Fosters.
Oh, seriously, all of it. But we didn't get into bed until 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And then had to be back up at 8 a.m. to go to SEMA.
Yeah.
We obviously didn't. Like it was
Yeah.
about 11:30
Bit of a-
before we
bit of a
got there.
sleep in.
But I've never felt so shocking in my life. Like
Who'd you go with?
I went with my mate Justin and my mate Scotty and Steve. So
You know Scott.
Yeah, I know
yeah,
Scott,
Scotty Meehan. Yeah, you
Yep.
know him. Yeah, no, other Scott, not Scott Stevenson. Scotty Meehan.
Oh, okay, no.
He's mates with Chubby and all
yeah,
those
right.
guys. Yeah. He's big in the second gen scene. But yeah, we went over and we had a ball, and I've been twice now. And
Yeah, right.
if everything goes to plan, I think I'll go back next year.
Does enough change to keep going?
Not every year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go every year, but I would
Yeah,
go.
people say that about Summernats too.
It's a bit different though. It's so much bigger, and it's the same styles.
Yeah, that's right.
I would go 2 to 3 years break.
You going to MotorX?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd like to go
Just
down.
shoot it or just have a good time?
Bit of both. I'll
Yeah.
definitely shoot it, but
Yeah.
if I don't get good content, then so be it. But
It's like,
I'd
what?
come down
How,
and
how
party.
long are we coming up on with like no sort of events like that where we could travel? What it would is it 2 years?
Yeah.
2 years now?
Yeah, we're close to because by the time we could travel again,
Yeah.
it got shut down again.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you're going to see, well, like some of the caliber of cars, we spoke about this last time, that are being built and are coming out, just crazy.
And then I feel like where normally people would have a rush if they say that final 12 months to Summernats or whatever, the cars that would have been done now have had an extra like 18 months to really like
Refine,
sprinkle
yeah.
that like the extra
Yep.
bit on there. Like it's going to be like outstanding with some of the cars we're going to see. I reckon.
yeah,
What I wanted to ask you, do you think there's some bias in the industry? Like, I feel like you're at the top of your game, and you know we've spoken about money and that, but like, what does it take to get shots into Street Machine? And like, we we've spoken about it before, where we sometimes think that like they don't. Yeah, they sort of almost hold something against certain people in the industry.
I don't feel that I've got anything held against me. I think that I get content out too quickly that a month later in a magazine, it's already been seen online. So maybe I'm not the right photographer for them. Whereas there are other photographers like Matt or Ben or Simon that shoot specifically for them, are contracted to them so that they will.
Yeah, but like there's events where you would be there and they're not, or whatever. Yeah. There would be shots that are from you that are absolutely killer,
but then
and you don't get the call up to ask if they can use that shot.
I've shot for them a couple of times. I've had some stuff in there, both in the magazine and on their online stuff.
Okay,
but I think for me to really have more content in there, I would have to not post it.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd rather just post it and do my own thing.
I was going to say, and it's so much more enjoyable just doing your own thing. Like, not having to edit things a certain way or do things to their standards.
That's if you want to build a career, that's not necessarily how you have to do it.
But I also think
do you reckon your style would suit a magazine?
No, I don't think
they wouldn't be happy with the way he edits in a magazine.
All right, why?
Yeah.
Because it's too dynamic. The printing would probably maybe diminish the quality of the photos. And Street Machine is an amazing magazine. I love the photography it's in it, but it's a totally different style.
Okay.
And I don't
100%.
think, if you look, even if the burnout coverage that's in the magazine, it's different to what I shoot.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I had a little gripe, and that is that I tried to get a big block in Street Machine for Middle of the Month. And,
that's still.
You reckon?
Yeah.
But they never got back to me. Not once.
Okay, not back to you. And I guess
that
that's
gripes
because
me.
I know who to like.
Yeah,
who to talk to.
We had to go through the channels, and that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I emailed, so I contacted Jay Benz. Jay Benz just said, "No, they're really good. Just hit them up on their Insta." So I sent him an Insta.
It was Jay Benz. He was the one that fucking led us astray.
No. I hit up their Insta, then I hit up their Facebook, and then I emailed them on their email. Not one return.
Yeah, right.
You know, and for someone who's like, I'm passionate. I love this shit, man. Like, I love this shit as much as anyone.
Oh, 100%.
And like, I've invested money and what else into this big block.
Yeah.
I want people to see it, and I think it's a good fit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think to hear nothing, it's disheartening.
I think Street Machine certainly, because it is the premier muscle car, whatever you want to call it, magazine in Australia, they have a lot of people wanting to get in it with a lot of different things, and they certainly have their own style about what they choose. And
an email back saying thanks but no thanks.
I get that. I love Street Machine, and don't get me wrong, if they want to reach out to me and say we want to feature all of your photos, absolutely. But
well, I'll drop links below. We know you're watching.
But I also think maybe they're a little bit more old school.
Yeah, that's a vibe I'm getting as well.
I don't think they've really come to the times with the burnouts, especially. Burnout Australia magazine, I think, had potential. It was run by photographers, so I think that had its own little dynamic. I obviously wasn't featuring it because they had their own content, but I think it had potential to grow as well. Fortunately, it's online now only, and is what it is. But I think if Street Machine was to push burnouts, I think they would.
A lot of young kids. That's where like the crowds are getting bigger, and like
100%.
and to not jump on board with it, I think it's just a bit silly. But
and I mean, I will say that I'm not purely a burnout photographer. I will shoot other stuff. Mainly automotive stuff. I don't really shoot. I did a bit of boudoir and portrait and all that kind of stuff.
I wanted a bit of a racy shoot done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just naked in the bay. Like, we can get that sorted. But I will shoot other stuff that's not just burnouts. But I find
that's your interest, right? This is all of our interest. This is our passion.
And I find that me shooting burnouts, it aligns with my editing style a lot. And
you've perfected it. You've been doing it a long time now.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, and this is, 6-7 years of shooting burnouts?
Well, like I said to Mick to stir him up the other day, I'm like, well, I actually knew of Scott before I knew of Picnik. Like, it's only by chance that I know of Picnik, really.
Yeah.
Like,
really, Well, at that time especially, Talk was established.
Yeah.
Picnik had been around for a couple months, especially when we'd met. A couple months, yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you, we'd been friends before you started Picnik Media.
Yeah.
And I had helped you with other stuff. You'd helped me with other stuff.
That's what I love about your friendship is like it's based around cars, but you can tell that there's a genuine friendship there after 100%. The accident.
Yeah.
You know, Scott was waiting in barrel for you.
Well, yeah.
And all you'd done is send a snap with a location on it.
I didn't send the location.
Oh, you didn't?
He just sent me a
took it
snap.
upon himself.
Oh, all right.
And
I opened up the
sent
snap
it-
map straight away and went, where is he? And I just jumped in the car and drove.
Yeah, I sent it to 3 people just so that they weren't finding out.
Yeah,
somewhere else.
online, yeah.
I was
Yep.
just like, we're okay, car's fucking gone, whatever.
And then just like wrapping Aaron's car, Scott's there.
yeah, he's a dependable mate.
You
someone
came
can
up.
call and they'll
You
come.
came up to help with the shoot of Mr. Wagon this time.
That was a mission of a day for you. 6 hours in the car plus 7 hours at the shop wrapping that.
Oh, yeah. No, I loved every
Yeah,
second
you
of
love
it.
that.
And I think I had to rush home for work or something.
Pick up
even.
Indy.
Oh, yeah, pick up. But, dude, I fucking loved it. I
Yeah,
fucked it. It
you
was awesome.
raved about that. You're like,
Yeah, it was so much
everyone
fun.
had their job and everyone bloody just got stuck in.
That was one of the first times where, like, say, like when it's just 2 blokes, like 2 mates doing shit, you know what to do and you fucking get in and do it. But when there's 6, 7 people there,
Normally a lot of shit gets spoken.
2 people will work, everyone will watch and talk shit. Dude, everyone just fucking honked in
Yeah.
and they fucking just went at it. And I was like, that's fucking, but that shows how good of a person you are and why they, like, because people don't.
Everyone's
just
too
bust their
scared of
ass.
his judgment.
We were talking about it with Benny, and he was just like, I don't even really like not as good of friends with you, but as that we are. And he's just like, why do I feel even like when I build a car? He's like, I'm worried that Scott's gonna like it.
No, not going to like it.
I'm not gonna like it. Yeah.
You're very critical of other people's stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I am critical
And you
because
don't fucking hold back.
I want people to do the best that they can, and I want people to
But
produce.
what about people build cars for them and not for you?
Absolutely.
I'm happy to. There is multiple times where I'm happy to admit I've become complacent and tried to do what is easier or could be cheaper, so less effort. And then Scott will pull me up on it, and it'll make me like, I'll either
Double
learn the
think.
hard way or just be like, yeah, fuck, you're right. I'll do that.
The
yeah.
biggest thing at the moment is everyone keeps like tagging me in Simmons and stuff like that, right? And Simmons and walkies. Now, I will be the first to admit that deep dish 22-inch FRs, 3-piece, they look fat, right?
Yeah.
Deep dish walkies,
You heard
they
it here
look
first,
fat,
guys. You
right?
heard it here first.
He's
They
only
do.
saying it because I'm here.
No,
and,
I'm not.
and the car that's in the background.
Yeah.
They are fat, but the problem is that as soon as they release the one piece,
Yeah, market
Everyone's
got
got them,
flooded.
and
Yeah.
I
you
think
see him
everyone
in-
had them anyway.
you see them on Hyundais, you see them on
Yeah.
Lancers, you see them on everything, and that's when it started to ruin it. Because
Oh,
back in the
yeah.
day, you saw a VK with a polished blower and FR18s that were like
People couldn't
12
afford it.
inches wide. They cost $6,000.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And they were fat. Like VK671, I was going to go to my formal in that. And it rained, unfortunately, but it was a weapon of a car,
Yeah.
and I that was one of my first like big loves of a burnout car, and it
Yeah,
wasn't really
sick,
a burnout
yeah.
car, but
Just
like
a blown car.
it was just a big
Yeah.
blown car, and it was so fat. And I think as long as people get the height right and the stance right and the fitment right on whatever wheels you choose, it will look good.
I saw you go to
100%.
town on Andrew's red VY
didn't
the
go
other
to
day.
town.
Fuck off. I was like, I read that and I'm like, ooh. I like puck it up a little bit.
Andrew and I are mates, so he knew what I was saying, but like
Yeah, so when he cuts, he means to cut deep because he knows.
yeah.
that thing, it would be so fat, just an inch lower with an inch spacer, and you're set. It'll look fat.
But do you think, like he said, it wasn't finished?
Yeah.
And like people get excited and release this shit, and then do you think that maybe you cut him down and he's like, well, it's not done?
Maybe, and if that was the case, then I'll apologise, and I'll apologise to anyone who finds it upset that I'm a bit judgmental about their cars. But I just want to see, and same with photos, I want to see people do the best they can.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
And I think that, especially with photos, the young and upcoming guys, I said it before, I'm happy to help anyone that wants to get it. And
Oh yeah, 100%.
And my DMs are filled with people who are messaging me about stuff, both about photos and then guys in Commodores that want fitment advice
Or asking where you buy wrap.
or asking where I buy
That is
wrap.
the biggest question I get.
Yeah.
And
Is
it?
I don't know how many times I say in the videos or drop links or I just start replying now because I get it too often. And I'm like, if you know anything about us wrapping, that means you've watched our content, which means it is there to find.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But
Alright.
I'll still reply. I'll still help
Yeah.
out. And the amount of messages I get from guys that are just like, what wheels should I get or what options should I get? And I send them ideas of both my car, his car, other cars that I've helped spec for.
Yep.
Yeah, and I see even overseas with a lot of the pages as well. It's almost like you have an entire album and like a couple paragraphs ready to like for
I literally
any
have a-
scenario.
I literally have a folder on my phone that is just wheels.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
wheel
Yeah.
offsets. This is a blah, this is a blah, this is a blah, this is
Yeah.
a tyre you can fit. You need to roll your guards. On a Commodore, you need to trim the rear bumper
Yeah.
cover. Like, these are the kind of things that I'll just paste it every time, because the more people I see with cool wheels, the better the scene is.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd rather lift the
100%.
scene. I'd rather lift the photography scene as well. That's why I put up my videos of
You guys are
how
in
to
like a
edit.
weird space in the scene though, because you're very big on your fitment, but you're in a Commodore scene, and I don't think they cross over. I think
like
like you
we're
guys are
making
in
it.
that. No, it's not the picky, because I think you pick wheels that are a little bit stancy and a little bit crossover.
Yeah, I definitely.
I think
more
yous
than
are
that,
in a
yeah.
middle
More
spec.
so him than me.
You reckon?
Mine fit well, his don't.
Okay, whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. Yeah. Just throwing me under the bus right there. But
Stretchy boy.
I like tight fitment.
Yeah, but not
He
that much
likes
stretch.
grandpa spec.
Hey, yeah. But I agree with you, and especially the fact
He
that
started drifting the other day. He started looking at billets, and I'm like, man, what makes this car is that it is that crossover.
Yeah, he kept me in my
why
lane.
spend 12 grand on billets when you can spend 8 grand on work wheels or 4 grand on work wheels?
Well, I had a company hit me up saying that they would do very, very competitive pricing on a set of billets. And like, because we were tubbing it and everything, and I was the material shortage, trying to find inners and outers, I was like, look, maybe the easiest option. Wouldn't mind.
You got
going to
excited by it.
22s
And
anyways.
look, you look at the nostalgia and the history behind billets in the burnout scene. The top cars, most of the top
Exactly.
cars have run billets.
Exactly.
So I felt like
Part of the look.
that drove you a little bit.
It did.
The polished CCWs, I think the CCWs on Loader's Reload on the green car when it had the trumpets,
Yeah.
when it first got unveiled.
Oh.
That's still one of my favourite
He
looks.
hates him.
Hated them.
He
I know
hates
you
them.
did,
I
but I
love
loved
them.
them. I loved
Do you
them.
know what
You know,
else
if you-
I love those wheels on is Cressy from the Friars.
Yeah.
Fry Hard, I
Yeah.
think it is.
The yellow one.
Yeah, no, it's not Fry Hard. It is the yellow one. It's got the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
wheels on it,
Yeah.
but I don't. Is
It's
it
on a, what is it? HG?
HG?
Or-
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
Fry
yeah.
Hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, on that, and even you've admitted you like them on that.
It suits that. It doesn't suit a big body late
Nah,
model
I disagree.
Commodore.
Eh?
Yeah,
That's funny
I
that
love
me and
those.
Scott agree on this, and
Yeah,
you don't.
yeah.
Yeah, I love those. But
Yeah.
I'm not... I'll be honest, I'm not a big polished wheel guy.
Yeah, me either.
I love those,
Yeah.
but that was kind of the one thing. But then when he got his fully polished, I was like, oh, I'm not sure. And then I've seen him on the car. I love him on his car. And then I put him on my car.
Yeah.
I almost regret just doing those in the grey because I think how dark the car is
Was
now.
that a Powercruise we put him on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they spend the whole time off our wagon, so they just go on his,
Yeah.
because they're just sitting there.
But so, yeah, I do. Yeah, I think maybe I might refinish those centres and go something a bit brighter.
Which would be good.
Yeah.
All right, but we've been talking for like friggin' an hour and a half now, which has been really good because it's just been native and really coming across. But just for the people that aren't already following Talk Media, where can they find you on all platforms?
So it's Talk Media on Facebook, Talk Media AU on Instagram. They're the two places we are. I've also got a YouTube page where I did a whole kind of video series on rebuilding this wagon to its current look. I've put a few editing videos up there as well. And from time to time, I'll put other stuff up there. I'm obviously not a hybrid shooter. I'm more photos than I am videos. I leave the videos to this man. And anytime any of my clients want videos, I just send them straight to him.
Yep.
So, Talk Media.
And where can people go to buy?
Yeah, so what
photos?
are your
'Cause
services?
you
Get-
do-
like,
you
put it out
don't
there.
have to just have your car. Like, it doesn't have to be your own car to buy your own photos. Anyone can buy your photos.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. So on the website, talkmedia.com.au, I spent extra and got the AU part. And I have photos on there for sale. I do posters. So once every couple of months, I'll do like a collab poster.
Yep.
And it's for an event, or it might be for a series, or it might be for whatever it might be. And I do them cheap. They're $30, including postage.
And they're
Printed.
fucking good.
Printed.
They
Yeah.
are fucking good.
They are such good quality.
Awesome for a man cave.
Yeah, they're so epic. And they're only $30.
Yep.
Ask Pete.
Yeah, Pete.
How many people have you?
All of them.
Yeah, he's got so many.
I then do prints. So any photo that I've posted on any social media is
Yeah.
available in a print.
What about if they see their car on your page anywhere? Can they get that printed by
Absolutely.
you?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'll organise the printing. I'll
Yep.
get it shipped to you in a secure postage tube.
You can't beat that. You
Absolutely.
can't beat that. Like you
You
see a
literally
great
can't.
shot. You see a great shot of your car. Get this man to print it.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's done.
And a
Yeah.
20 by 30 is $110 posted
Beautiful.
Yeah.
on high quality photo paper. And
What
Can't
about?
get better.
I have seen that you will go out and shoot cars for sale ads and stuff.
Yep.
What are we talking there?
for anything inside Sydney, it's $150
Yep.
for an hour shoot.
That's too cheap.
And
That's
for
too
something
cheap.
that's going to sell your car,
Yeah,
like,
100%.
It's necessary.
And you
100%.
don't have to put the effort in.
100%. Yeah, you just have to show up.
Call Scott.
Yeah, show up.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I've had a few clients that I've done their shoot. I've posted the photos on my thing, and I just said, hey, it's for sale. Go and check that person out. And
Yep.
I've had 3 out of 4 have messaged them from my page.
Yeah, right.
And sold their
Oh,
cars.
yeah, that's awesome.
And then also I see you're doing the guy that used to be at Penrith for the trim, now down in Port Kembla.
Oh, yeah, Kurt.
Oh, Kurt, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's moving back up into Sydney, thankfully.
All right.
But yeah, I shoot all of his, or not all of them, but the majority of his interiors.
Yep.
I really enjoy doing that because it's something a little bit different, and it's
Yep.
keeping people coming back to the page, but it's showing off his incredible work.
Yeah.
He does
Insane.
such good work, and he's
Yeah,
so
nuts.
affordable. And anyone who goes, I just want to buy HSV seats and just put them in, and they're going to spend $3,000 on putting HSV seats in there that are already ripped and torn.
Yep.
Just go and see him.
Yep.
Get a quote. It's cheaper than you think it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It really is.
Good to know.
And the quality of his work he's doing, I've helped him with a couple of things. I'm going to go see him on Tuesday. We're putting airbags in another car. I'll help
cool.
him with a couple of these cars, and I'll help build him. Unfortunately, he likes 22-inch walkies, but that's what it is. But he's become one of my great mates.
Yeah, nice.
So he's
That's
a really
awesome.
cool
That's awesome.
dude. I also have been doing colouring books.
Yeah, I saw them, yeah.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah,
They're also
sick.
cheap. They're $12 posted.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like, they're cheap and they're
Yeah.
really good quality. The first one's had a few issues where the pages were around the wrong way,
Oh, yeah.
facing the wrong direction. That was a printing issue, is what it is. The second ones I've done really, really well, and they're almost sold out. I think I've got 11 left. Of
the
the whole
shirts
batch.
did well. I saw the shirts did well.
Yeah,
They're
shirts did
really
well.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
The quality of the shirts is really, really good. One of my mates helped print these off, and I did open it up to everyone, but it was mostly mates that bought them.
Yep.
And I'm really appreciative of all of my mates
Yeah,
that
yeah.
bought them.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's-
But I've get Snapchats and messages all the time with people wearing them out. So
Mon got
it's-
excited. Mon chucked hers on for roll racing. She's like, I get to wear a bit of merch out to
Yeah.
a car event.
Yeah, yeah.
She was stoked about it.
And I think it's really cool. Like, it's a little bit different. It's not real showy. It's pretty subtle.
Yep.
But I think the colours really help kind
Yep.
of make it pop.
Subtle and then gets your attention.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think a few people were maybe a bit iffy on the colours and would prefer white, but I think white's just so boring.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I like the colours and put a bit of colour back into it. And everything I've been posting online lately has had colour in it.
Yep.
All of the colouring books are all pretty colourful on the front and cover pages.
Yep.
And I will be doing a new colouring book probably the end of November for Christmas.
Yep.
It'll be more Christmas themed. I'm going to have some stuff in there for kids.
Yeah, cool.
Got stickers, usual kind of stuff in there. But I'll also do gift vouchers. So
Oh, that's awesome.
perfect.
for
How good is
Christmas,
that?
for birthdays, whatever it might
Yeah,
be.
no, that's mad.
Just jump online, buy a gift voucher, and give it to someone, and I can come and shoot their car, or
Yep.
shoot their bike, or shoot their jet ski,
Yep.
or shoot their boat,
Yeah.
Yep.
like whatever it is. So,
Shoot your wife.
Awesome. Yeah.
well, yeah,
Alrighty, well, thank you very much for coming on.
No
This
worries.
is only our first guest, really. Oh, yeah, Benny was
Benny,
a
but
guest,
he's a
but
part of- yeah,
part
yeah.
of us. But our first guest has come on here, and it's gone really well. Really enjoyed having you on
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Being able to just literally sit back and talk shit for an hour and a half.
Absolutely. No, I
it's been
appreciate it.
awesome. But that's probably going to wrap up this episode. So we'll catch you guys back on the next one. We don't even know if we've got another guest planned yet. If not, you'll just see probably us two even back here talking shit. But we'll catch you guys in the next one. Fuck, I always eat shit when I get right to the end.
Peace out.
Yeah, but then-
You've done it a million
I
times.
know, but then like I said last time, your brain feels like you need to say a little bit extra for it to make sense. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy. See you later. Peace. Alrighty, legends. That is another one in the books. If you have anyone that you would love to hear come on here, or anyone else that you'd love to see us shoot the shit with, or want to hear some awesome freaking stories, drop it in the comments below. We want to be bringing more of these to you in the future, and even just more vlogs and more great content. So if there is anyone that you can think of that you would want to be on the podcast, drop it down below, boys. And for you legends that have been hanging around, I don't know, what's today's word going to be? Since Leo's looking at me real weird, drop Leo down in the comments just so that we know that you've watched all the way through to the end and been an absolute legend, as he stands up now looking at me really weird, wondering why I said his name. Alrighty, guys, we will see you in the next one. Enjoy.